LA Dodger, Paul LaDuca, one of the top trainers in the country, and Tom Amos. And we're right on top of post time here for the 6th race ahead.
Yeah, and right now taking all the money is Dog Tag, the 7 in here, first-time starter for our leading trainer here at the meet, Chad Brown. This is a son of Warfront, excuse me, a daughter of Warfront, and she's taking a lot of money from the start.
Originally scheduled for the turf, it's now on the main track. Was a mile and a 16th, and now it is 7 furlongs. And yeah, Dog Tag Tom, 6-5.
So that changes the whole complexion of the race. You're going from what is basically a route race, a stamina-style race, and you're making it a one-turn sprint race. These horses were entering for the grass. Now we're on the dirt. A lot of things going on in this race. That's why I'm going to take a long shot in this spot. Royal Angel at 20+ to 1.
Make your case. Why?
Well, I'm looking for pedigree for dirt.
Okay.
The mom was a multiple stakes winner on the dirt. These horses were all entered for the grass. So I'm looking for something that says, hey, I'm going to like the dirt. So I'll take a first-time starter like that in this spot.
New sire in Cairo Prince, too, whose career was cut way too short. A very brilliant horse. And a lot of people are saying that his 2-year-old's rolling out this year might make a splash. We'll see.
We saw a Chad Brown first-time starter earlier on the card before we came on the air. Spot the field, what, about 30 lengths?
25 to 30 lengths.
Come back and destroy that group back in race number 2. That was Gambler's Fallacy. He has a first-timer in here in the 6th, Seek and Destroy on the board at 9-2.
Yeah, and this one is a daughter of Verrazano, who is a brilliant horse in the Todd Pletcher barn.
There's the 6th horse stepping in. So the firster for Chad Brown, E5 Racing Thoroughbreds. Owner's a Good Magic, the 2-year-old champion who just came back and won the Haskell. Sending out this daughter of Verrazano. We're set for race 6 to kick off this Sunday edition of Saratoga Live. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
Just waiting for Royal Angel and Sleeve Mish to move into line. Royal Angel now coming up to the starting gate. And Sleeve Mish with Joel Rosario will take the outside stall. Goes in. And they're all in line. They're off. A good beginning for She's a Black Belt. Dog Tag also flashing foot to the outside. These two to the front. And right behind them is Seek and Destroy, who came out running in 3rd as they head up the backstretch. Then comes Sleeve Mish, Irish Intuition, and Fortunate Girl down on the inside. At the back of the field is Royal Angel. Up the backstretch they go. She's a Black Belt in front. Splitting horses, Seek and Destroy into 2nd. Dog Tag is 3rd to the outside as they go by a 23:08 first quarter. Then it's Fortunate Girl racing on the inside of Irish Intuition, just 2.5 lengths off the lead. Sleeve Mish is next, and Royal Angel at the back of the pack. And now it is Seek and Destroy and Dog Tag, the Chad Brown fillies, 1-2 as they round the far turn. She's a Black Belt dropped off of them, but is trying to re-rally from 3rd. Sleeve Mish is 4th. And then comes Irish Intuition, followed by Fortunate Girl as they make their way to the top of the stretch. Dog Tag on the outside. Seek and Destroy down toward the rail. She's a Black Belt has been guided to the outside of them. And Sleeve Mish is 4th after a 45.92 half. They're into the stretch. Dog Tag in front. Seek and Destroy battles her. These two stablemates stride for stride. Sleeve Mish is closing down the center. She's a Black Belt too. And now these two are gathering momentum to the outside of the other two fillies. And 4 of them are across the track as they come to the wire. Here's Sleeve Mish. Sleeve Mish gets up to score in the end over She's a Black Belt. And then it was Seek and Destroy and Dog Tag in 125.63.
Main track only entrant, Sleeve Mish, with the victory here from off the pace.
Yeah, and it seems like the center of the racetrack is where you want to be. And I want you to focus on the horse on the inside here. The 2 Chad Brown fillies start going at it here at the top of the lane, Tom. And at the end, the 6 is starting to get very, very tired. And she's going to cause some problems late. But the 13's already won this race. I'm sure the steward's going to take a look at this. But 6-1 on the winner.
Yeah, 6-1 on the winner. And the horse on the inside you're talking about, Paul, Dog Tag, that is a horse that late in the race, Jose is just trying to control her right here. He's actually stopped riding. Doesn't get beat very far.
No, he really doesn't. Rosario was the pickup mount there. She's a Black Belt. Very, very interesting race. Sort of got outfooted early. Took back, but then got in the better part of the racetrack, was able to re-rally and pass both the Chad Brown fillies, and ran a very nice 2nd in here.
Finishing strong right there under Joel Rosario, the main track only entrant, second time out. Gets the job done here at 6-1, 16-1 in second. It's a photo for third right now, but here's a look at Sleevemish into the stretch.
Yeah, listen, right here it looks like the 6th horse is going to win this race about right now, but she keeps on lugging out into dog tag, causing a little bit of trouble, so she's tiring. And then now you can see that 13 and 2 are starting to pick it up.
Yeah, and look, experience helps so much in these young races. Look, the 6 will come back to run a very good race, dog tag, but it's the experience that the 13 had of having run once before that makes the difference at the end of the race. Sleevemish, our winner.
Here's the issue. The 6 Seek and Destroy basically hindered her, her own stablemate in dog tag. I mean, they have to take a look at it, but they are trained by the same person, but different owners here, so they might take a look at it for 3rd and 4th.
Let's take a look at the photo for third.
I mean, coming out the way she did, it might have, yes, and there is the inquiry is up now.
There's Christophe Clement, winning trainer. And there's that inquiry sign up between the 6 and 7.
Yeah, and it bothered the 2 a little bit, but she was able to at least pass those 2, so there would be nothing there. I would think they're only going to flip-flop the 7 and the 6 here.
Take one more look here.
This is tough. Castellano's trying to correct his horse each time, Tom. He's hitting right-handed, he's moving back, but every time she just keeps going out, she's just getting tired.
No, she's doing his job. So this is the kind of thing, if indeed this horse comes down, the 6, Seek and Destroy, and I believe this horse will come down, the stewards will notice that Javier Castellano did everything he could to keep that horse going in the right direction, and he won't get penalized. By penalized, I mean a lot of times they not only take the horse down, but then the rider they take down, and he can't ride for a few days. It would be hard to say Javier Castellano had anything to do with that.
Just young, green horses in the stretch, a little tired here. And a look.
And then,
Jose Ortiz making his case to the stewards.
Yeah. And again, don't want to understand. I mean, the inside of the racetrack is not been the place to be. We'll take another look at it.
Neon green cap with the E for Bob Edwards on the top, and this horse green throughout.
Just getting tired. They're just getting tired. And you can see every time Castellano's trying to hit the horse right-handed.
Can't even hit him there.
He couldn't hit him there.
Yeah.
That was the worst infraction.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. Listen, I mean, it's a 1,000-pound animal, and you know how strong you have to be. I mean, what he's doing enough is amazing strength and core strength. It's hard when a horse is lugging out on that, and he's trying to stay leaning on that left side, really trying to keep her straight, and she was just having nothing of it.
And you have to emphasize, this was Seek and Destroy's first start.
Yeah, she just got tired.
She hasn't been in a group like this before. It can be overwhelming for a racehorse the first time they run, particularly in the heat of the battle, late in the race like this. But this is a no-brainer. Seek and Destroy comes down in this spot.
That's what we're expecting here. So expect the 6 and 7 here to change positions. Javier Castellano on the 6, Seek and Destroy. There he is, the 4-time Eclipse Award-winning rider who won 4 years in a row.
He's got the look that he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, concerned look on his face, and announcement being made right now. As we take a look, and yeah, pretty significant.
So right now, Javier is waiting by the phone. The stewards may want to talk to him. They may want to ask him a question. They'll ring down, as they're doing right now, and they may indeed say, we'd like to ask Javier a couple of questions based on them viewing the race. Here's what's happening right now. He's speaking to them. He's stating his case as to what happened down the stretch, what he tried to do to correct his horse. They want to hear everything. They've got the video evidence. Now they're getting the audio evidence.
I wish they would do that in the NFL. Let the players make their case. And it should just be to the audience watching on television, and then America can vote.
Wow.
And then America can vote.
You know what? Then that'd be like almost like when they start playing the music to people get off stage. They'd be playing the music a lot if that was going to be the case.
There it is. Change has been made, which we all expected. 13-2. The 7 moved up to 3rd. 6 DQ'd in place 4th behind the horse that one caused the interference with. We're going to head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale, standing by with a winning trainer.
It's always Jack cracking jokes down here, Christophe Clement. But nice to get the first win of the meet, obviously with Sleevemish. Clever entering by you as an MTO.
You sound surprised, but that's okay. No.
I'm never surprised by you.
No, we are very happy with the filly. You know, she ran once in New York. It was just too fast for her. She's done well since the first race. She will stay for sure. She won going 7-8 today. There's no doubt she wants to go further. I'm delighted she won. You know, great owners connection, Waterville, who always supported us for many years, and I'm very happy.
And you said the jock, Joel Rosario, playing a little harder than your filly.
He was blowing at least as much as she did, but he gave her a great ride. He believed in her, never gave up, and she was fit enough and good enough to win.
That she was. Congratulations here, Christophe with Silver Mish.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, back to you.
Good to get on a board, and that is a trainer who was just red hot coming into this meet at Saratoga.
Yeah, and it just shows you the shape that these guys are in. Joel Rosario carrying Steve Mish across the race line, saying that he was blowing just as hard as the horse was. But we talked about this yesterday. He can carry a horse a long way, 15-60 on top. Daughter Bernardini and Smart Strike mare. Beckles Road, Stonehaven Steadings, and Waterfield Lake Stable. Congratulations to everybody involved. And look at that, pick 3, $615, pretty good.
So Steve Mish gets Christophe Clement on the board here at this Saratoga meeting. Coming up next, it is the start of the Naira Bets late pick 5, $150,000 minimum single ticket payout coming up. If you're the only ticket to hit today, there's not even that much in the pool. It doesn't matter. You're going to get $150,000 in your account. So that is ahead. Feature race, of course, coming up this afternoon. That is the Alydar and Timeline, a horse who started out his career a perfect 4 for 4, a couple of graded stakes wins. Does he love a mile and an eighth, though?
I'll pass that one to you.
So if you look at his form after that 4 for 4 start, you have to say perhaps not. The more he's used two-turn races, the more he has become vulnerable in his race record.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Here's the thing with Timeline. Does he need it his own way? Does he need the front end? Sometimes he doesn't. Against maybe a thicker group or a tougher group, maybe he does. Like in the Peter Pan, who did he really beat? You start looking back and you look at the horses that he really got walloped by. He was never close to West Coast. He was never close to Gervin. Who did he beat? Hoffenheim. Taprit. Sunny Ridge is beating him. Nothing away from Sunny Ridge, but he's not outplay and he's not Kurleff in here. And again, the racetrack, I don't know, is going to play toward Timeline the way he wants to run, but he is the horse to beat, at least on numbers.
With more on our feature race coming up this afternoon, let's check in downstairs with the rest of our team for the first time today. New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling and Gabby Gaudet.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Well, it is a fun race, the Alydar, named for one of the great horses really the last 50 years. He was just one horse away from himself being a Triple Crown winner. That horse being affirmed, and Chad Brown has 2. I know you kind of prefer Timeline. I actually prefer Kurleff in this spot.
Well, I hear them upstairs in terms of, you know, the worry about the distance limitations for Timeline. I just simply think he is a better horse. And the worry with me about Kurleff, you know, the positive thing with him is that you know that he can get the distance. I don't think that's going to be an issue for him. I do think it's his class. I wasn't particularly impressed with his Queens County performance.
That was his last dirt race. Now we're looking at a turf race. This is from 2 back when he actually dead heated for a win. And a pretty solid field here that day. And I understand what you're saying. Now, to be fair, the Queens County, which was his last dirt race back in December at Aqueduct, pretty competitive field that day. And I just think he's more suited to the mile and eighth. And I'll tell you the truth, I'm just not Timeline's biggest fan. I know he lost to a good horse last time in Sunny Ridge, but he was also on a rail that was very good at Belmont. They're both players, and I think one of the fun things about the Alydar is that there are 2 horses being trained by Todd Fletcher and 2 horses being trained by Chad Brown, and they'll fight it out, and one of them is a fan favorite, and that fan favorite is Patch. For more on him, let's head out to Maggie Wolfendale.
Well, Andy, as far as handicapping this race, I certainly like Kurleff as well, but a lot of fans, they like Patch, who rose to stardom on that Kentucky Derby trail last year because of his, well, lone eye. He is missing his eye on the inside. So he's a horse that came back to the races after being gone since the West Virginia Derby and won on a other than pretty convincingly. Connections got a bit ambitious and took to the Steve Stephen Foster, grade 1 at Churchill, on a night that was very hot, very humid. We saw several horses react negatively to that, such as Backyard Heaven and Irish War Cry. Todd Pletcher stating that maybe Patch didn't react that well to it either. And furthermore, it was a bit of a steep step to take from second off the bench from that allowance win into grade 1 company. So this is what he is referring to as scaling back a little bit and giving Patch a little easier try at what may be easier company, but I don't know. This is a compact field, but it is filled with talent here, Greg.
It certainly is. Patch, of course, third in last year's Belmont Stakes. They put him in some real deep waters in the second start of his 4-year-old season, the Stephen Foster. So we'll see how he fares here in start number 3 for Todd Pletcher. That will go as race number 10. We're going to kick things off with our Naira Bets late pick 5 in the 7th race. 6 furlongs, $40,000 claiming race. We're on the turf at a mile and 3/16 in the 8th. Race number 9, we got a marathon on the inner turf. And race 10, our feature, the Aladar. There are 11 races on the card today. That 11th race you can watch on the Naira Now app or at NairaBets.com. Weather and track conditions brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of the Saratoga Racecourse. Piranha on and pests gone. Main track, good. Turf course yielding for today's action coming up. And we are 25 minutes away right now from race number 7 as we take a look at the current field. American Power, the favorite right now in this 40 claiming race at 6 furlongs. This horse trained by Jason Service.
Dominant winner for $25,000 against straight 3-year-olds at Belmont. Much the best that day. That's really the bottom for the straight 3-year-olds. And now he's going to rage up and try the 40,000 claimers, which is the next level for straight 3-year-olds.
Paul LaDuca chasing the $150,000 in the Naira Bets late pick 5 today.
We're always chasing any kind of money we can. So the late pick 5, always a must play. 2, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm going to try to go for a late double here. And I actually, in agreement with Andy, I think Kurloff is going to love this racetrack the way it's playing. 5, 6, 9, 10, and 12. Race number 8. Race number 9, 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9. I thought race number 9 was so difficult to try to figure out what's going on, especially one-time winners. A lot of those horses love to hang in that 9th race. Race number 10, I get it with Timeline. I think he is the horse. I agree again with that. Gabby has the horse to beat, but the way the racetrack's playing, I think Kurloff can sit back there and maybe circle that field. And I do think Naples Legacy is in the last race is the best horse with the best finish. Entered for main track only. Some people might reach for other horse in there. I think the 2 Samara is a player, but I think the one's the horse to beat.
Yeah, main track only entered off the turf in race 11. So that's now on the main track at 5.5 furlongs. Let's update that for actually the main track fast.
You knew that
currently. And the turf
base track's fast, but as Paul was mentioning, talking about the track itself and saying how speed is dying. It's because the inside part of the racetrack doesn't seem to be playing as quick as the outside. Horses are getting tired that are along the inside running.
That's why I didn't mean the way I was saying, because that horse was lugging out, but I think being on the lead right now, you're going to have to be must the best.
We'll continue to keep our eyes on that, but that has been the case, it looks like, this afternoon. We're going to step aside for a break. When we return, we're going to hear from the connections of the Whitney champ, Diversify, sensational on a sloppy track on Saturday.
This 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and Horse of the Year Up with the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Now the excitement is building as his first foals have arrived this year. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Off the turn with a link to the half lead. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. The dramatic finish. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Success starts at Saratoga. The Saratoga Selected Yearling Sale has established a reputation for high quality and high performance. Recent graduates include Grade 1 winners Avenge, Bolt d'Oro, and Moonshine Memories, and 2017 Breeders' Cup champions Battle of Midway, Stormy Liberal, and Rushing Fall. The nation's #1 sale by percentage of Grade 1 winners, the Fasig-Tipton Saratoga Sale, August 6th and 7th.
We found Breeders' Cup champion Rushing Fall at Saratoga. Where will you be?
Fifth annual Jockey Legends Day taking place this afternoon here at Saratoga, presented by Fasig-Tipton Festival of Racing. Angel Cordero Jr. There's the MIG. Ramon Dominguez, Jose Santos, just a few of the names on hand. That autograph session took place earlier this afternoon. Donations went to the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. And the riders, Chris McCarron on hand as well, honored during a special presentation following the 5th race today. Always something great on hand happening at this very special place. We see you, Chris McCarron.
Yeah, right next to the MIG, like you said. And Sandy Hawley was right over there, too, as well. One of the best front-end riders ever to be on a thoroughbred.
Maybe the guy next to him was, too.
Yeah,
Early
right?
Fires, huh? I mean, Early Fires. He sent him to the front.
Pretty good group there.
Well, a rider that is quickly making his name is becoming one of the greats of all time. Young Jose Ortiz, he broke through. He got his first win in the Triple Crown last year on Tappert. He won his first Eclipse Award last year as well, unseating the 4-year reign of Javier Castellano. He is a rider on the rise. Let's meet Jose Ortiz.
John Velasquez. The closest thing to perfect is John. Too perfect, like his position, he's very smart, and he does everything like perfect. If you want to do good, you gotta try to look like Johnny. No mistakes. It's great. It's the final leg of the Triple Crown. It's 1.5 miles. It's kind of tricky distance because we don't ride 1.5 miles every day. You need a horse that can handle it. I mean, it was pretty amazing. I like Mickey Woods and Alex Rose. It's Spanish, kind of reggaeton. My family. I had 2 pit bulls, and my mom have a Chihuahua. I like Instagram and Twitter. Facebook also.
One of the absolute best riders in the business. He had a big day yesterday here at Saratoga, and Chad Brown said of his ride on a separation of powers that he just fits this filly absolutely perfectly.
It's a great race yesterday. The time was very, very quick. A battle down the stretch. She showed she was the best. Don't be surprised if you don't see her stretch out the 2 turns and try Monomoy Girl down the line.
I tell you what, she had a dig deep. Me and Mischief was not giving in, and there you see the jockey standings.
Jose started out pretty slow. Now he's starting to rack together a few victories. We knew he was going to catch fire at some point, and he's starting to pick him up and move up that leaderboard. Trainer standings, of course, Chad Brown leading the way, but Steve Asmussen, Bill Mott having great meets. Joe Sharp is as well.
Yeah, Joe Sharp with the surprise, and Steve Asmussen with his 2-year-olds. So he keeps rolling them out and rolling them out. But the usual on top of Chad, and he looks like he might run away with this at the end of this meet again.
Naira Bet's late pick 5. It begins here in race 7. It's time for a paddock report for the race that will kick it off for us. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale. This report brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
Thanks, Greg. And while your current favorite, American Power, he definitely looks the part in here of a favorite. Want to check in with the horse that actually finished second to him last time. That is number 6, Jupster, and he is going first off the claim for Jeremiah Engelhardt. But actually, last time after the race, he had a mild case of heat stroke. So he definitely did not handle the weather that day. Granted, it's the same kind of situation here today, but I can say that he actually looks a bit better overall than going back to that last effort. He's put on some weight, definitely got a brighter look in his eye overall. So I think he's over that, if you will, and he'll go out for Jeremiah, who's just ever dangerous. Moving on to number 2, that is Show Me the Bucks, who is turning back in distance, and I like it. This is a horse that I've questioned his overall affinity for going a route of ground because he does tend to get himself kind of revved up. He came in on his toes here once again, and he is a little bit more on the shorter coupled side. So I like this turn back in distance from the Mount of 16 to the 6 furlongs, as he also takes that drop in class. Now moving on to number 7, Felix and Fabula, another one like Jupster, first off the claim. This, though, going for Danny Gargan, and he's another one that I actually think less ground is a bit better for him. He does have that late kick, but furthermore, Danny Gargan is a guy who's known to put a little more speed into his horses. Not to say that Felix and Fabula is suddenly going to be more of that front end runner, but I just think he could be dangerous, and I like the way he looks here in the paddock for his new connections here, Greg. So 2 grays going at it here in race number 7.
An interesting race coming up here, Gabby. And I think, and Paul alluded to it early in the show, in that the track has very much, if you look at yesterday's races, even X the Whitney when we got the huge rainstorm, and today's races, it's got that balcony feel, like the old balcony Belmont with the outside movers. And it could help a horse like the 2 Show Me the Bucks, because even though he breaks inside, he feels like one that'll be running late, especially cutting back in distance.
And I love the cutback in distance for him. He started off his career sprinting 6.5, 6 furlongs too. He's got that closing type of kick that I think has just been deflated since he stretched out in distance. My question is, why immediately put him in for the $40,000 tag? I mean, he looks pretty good, and he could be okay sprinting.
I mean, that's always a question, and I certainly don't want to knock saying a horse dropping down, but isn't Bill Mott just being realistic with a horse that's running buyers in the 70s?
Sure.
He's not going to win. He's certainly not winning a non-winners of 1 up here in Saratoga. Now, maybe going to win at Monmouth. You want to win up here, you better be in the right spot. The 8 American Power, he's got the outside post, he's a closer, and it's Jason Service. But let's just say with Jason Service, he was like a house on fire at Belmont Park, and his horses have not been as sharp here. So even though he's got the right running style and the right post, can we expect him to run as well as he did this last race at Belmont when he just exploded in the stretch and buried Jupster as the 6 in this race?
And he really improved in that performance. I mean, we're talking about a horse who was running into the low to mid 60 buyer speed figures, and then suddenly he runs this 81 buyer speed figure, and he looked so dominating because this race actually held together. There was nobody else closing. This was an incredible performance.
No, I agree. It's almost like he was running in a completely separate race than everybody else. Now, Felix and Fabula, who Maggie was talking about, you know, I think he's okay. And he's also got the right post. I don't have any real knock on him. Danny Gargan, who does a sensational job overall, his numbers off the claim are okay. He wins at 20%. But a guy like Danny Gargan, I think the assumption is he's going to really be going to move up off the claim guy, and he's not. He's more of a trainer that sort of takes his time in moving horses forward. So you can like him on his form. I wouldn't want to bet him saying Danny's going to move him forward a lot.
And a lot of the time, you know, if you look at trainer or first off the first off the claim out of the Christophe Clement barn, they're not great stats either. It's hard to improve off of a barn like that, which is always a concern. I like him because I think he's better sprinting, and I do think that he'll get the pace flow in front of him that he wants, and I didn't handicap this race considering the track, but the track's only going to help him.
It's certainly not going to hurt him based on what you'd expect to see. Now, it could hurt the 6 Jupster in this race. And Jupster came to Belmont Park, and Paul and Greg and I were doing the show, and we had this funny debate about it. And even though I was much stronger against him and turned out to be completely wrong, this is 2 back, everybody agreed that 3-2 was a kind of a crazy price. That was a time when Leslie Ward was very hot. He still ran very well off the claim. He just got buried by American Power. But is his running style going to be compromised by the racetrack because he is a speed?
Now, he did stumble coming out of the gate last time out, and he still was fast enough to open up on the field by about 2 lengths. So he is going to be in the clear, I believe, in this race. Yeah, the track is going to be against him. And also, I question how good he really is. I mean, he won a non-winners of 3 2 starts back. This is a tough field.
I don't disagree with that, but he was claimed by a very sharp outfit. Owner Jimmy Riccio, who had a big winner earlier in today's card, is one of the sharper claiming owners in the game. I don't disagree with your sentiments, but I wonder if he'll run especially well for Jimmy Riccio as we head back upstairs to Greg and the crew on the roof.
All right, Andy, thank you. 9-5 favorite remains American Power, but we're taking a look here at What a Catch for Todd Pletcher. And this 3-year-old coming in from Finger Lakes last start.
Yeah, look, comes out of a stake race for New York breds and did all the dirty work. There was a 1-5 shot in that race. What a Catch went with him, buried him, put him away. And what happened, he got a little tired himself from those early fractions. Longest price in the field, ended up winning the race. This is a little bit different scenario for What a Catch. I don't think you'll see him pushing the pace like he had to do up at Finger Lakes.
Yeah, where do you think you envision him sitting in there? That's the crazy part. And part of this race is the way the racetrack's playing is we keep talking that, you know, closing down the crown of the racetrack has been where you want to be. There does look like some speed in here, but the 4 What a Catch has laid off the pace before.
Yeah, he's versatile, right? So we would call him tactical, which is the best asset or the best racing characteristic a horse can have is to be tactical. But the 1, certainly Earth, I think shows some speed in here. And you start getting out to Jupster and those horses, I mean, that is another one that shows speed.
Jupster's very quick. We know that.
Yeah,
the 6 horse at 5-1. But yeah, the Earth Tom mentioned on the rail, the one coming off that bullet work here at the Oklahoma training track at Saratoga, has the inside post. So we'll see. It be interesting to see what Earth can do in here. Meanwhile, Felix and Fabula. Danny Gargan off the claim. They were talking about this horse downstairs, just claimed off of Christophe Clement, coming off a win, 2 wins the last 3 starts.
Yeah, so maybe the transition will be a little bit different. Danny puts a lot more speed into his horses, so I don't know if this horse is going to relax, make 1 run, or show more speed, you know?
I'm going to take a strong stand against the 7. I watched his last race. He went over his right lead around the turn. I'm not big on what lead you're on down the stretch, but if you're on your wrong lead on the turns, that is a negative sign to me. I'm going against the 7, Felix and Fabula.
4-1 right now on the 7. Kendrick Carmouche will be aboard there for Danny Gargan off the claim. Post-parade here coming up. We will begin things with Earth. Eric Consell aboard that horse who just had that bullet work on the Oklahoma training track for Jenna Antonucci.
Yeah, Blinker's 2 starts in a row, and it really hasn't improved him much, and he's going to really have to improve to beat this field.
Show Me the Bucks, the 2. For Hall of Famer Bill Mott. Junior Alvarado in the irons. This horse won the debut back at Gulfstream.
Yeah, this is a horse that's making the transition from 2 turns back to 1 turn. He'll benefit from that. Big chance he will show you the bucks.
I'm an Ocala dude, 15-1. Manny Franco, Michelle Nevin.
Yeah, you know, this horse just threw in a tiny bit of a clunker off the left, or a big clunker at Laurel. Now they drop. But, you know, they're dropping this colt to where he broke his mane, so not unreasonable.
What a Catch. Won the first 2 starts of his career for trainer Todd Pletcher. John Velasquez rides.
He's making a significant class drop here, and I think he's the one to beat.
Wushu Warrior. Biggest price on the board, 25-1 for Chris Engelhardt.
You know, he's another one that does have some pace. He has shown that he can pass horses at a lower level. So at 27-1, maybe he can pick up some pieces for a try or super.
6 horse, here's the speedy Jupster, now in the Jeremiah Engelhardt barn with Jose Ortiz aboard.
Claimed out of his last race and taking a class hike today.
Felix and Fabula, who we were just talking about, this one off the claim for Danny Gargan. He's won 2 of his last 3. Kendrick Carmouche rides.
Yeah, if he raced a turf debut, you know, in some of the sloppy efforts, this horse has been pretty close almost each time and fires almost each time.
The last 2 times Kendrick has been aboard, they've both been wins. American Power, the 8 for Jason Service, Irad Ortiz Jr.
An easy winner last time. My pick to win the race, and who knows, maybe even one that I'd like to claim.
Tipping your hand a little bit here. All right, we'll see what happens here. Saratoga Showdown, you can play along without risking any of your own money. Go to NYRA.com/showdown, and you're competing for real prizes, not to mention bragging rights, but also a grand prize of a 2019 Belmont Stakes ticket package. It involves the races on our show. You don't risk any of your own money. Good luck. We'll show you the top 10 towards the end of the show. Naira Bets Late Pick 5. It is coming up when we return. We'll kick it off right after this. Stay tuned.
Turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back there in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
I started horseback riding when I was 8 and loved horses ever since, and also had a passion for photography, so it was really just combining the 2 passions coming here.
That's Chelsea Durant, track photographer here for the New York Racing Association. We're going to hear more about her and some of the tremendous pictures and how she was able to get those a little bit later on in our show here on Saratoga Live. Naira Bets Late Pick 5 is coming up next. Over $170,000 already in this pool. We're approaching the 1-minute mark to post. And for more on this race that kicks it off, let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, Greg. And let's take a look at some horses in their individual warm-ups. And we'll take a look at number 7, Felix and Fabula, ridden by Kendrick Carmouche. A lot of times that is Danny Gargan's go-to rider. And as we were kind of discussing and alluding to, is Danny Gargan going to put more speed into Felix and Fabula? To me, I don't know for certain, but what I saw out here on the track is Kendrick Carmouche really giving this horse a big warm-up. So that usually is indicative of the attempt to try to get a horse to show a little bit more speed if they don't necessarily have it naturally. So we'll see what happens with Felix and Fabula here, but there seems to be some intent to have him on the lead, or if not, just close to it. Number 4 is What a Catch. Now, this is this guy's first start outside of State Bred Company, first start for a tag. It's Todd Pletcher. I'm sure he's just being realistic with this runner. I wasn't thrilled with his warm-up, just thought I could see a little more energy, a little bit more kind of emphasis on his stride overall. So we'll see what a Catch does, but obviously getting some class relief here. Andy and Gabby, what do you think about this New York bred?
Yeah, no, I think he's a very interesting horse to talk about, Maggie, and I heard Tom say upstairs, and maybe he can expand on it a little bit when we're done, that he thought that What a Catch was the horse to beat. I think he's a player in this race. I would not go so far as say he's the horse to beat. I feel like he's been relatively unreliable recently.
Yeah, now the argument is that he has been facing some pretty quality company when you're talking about horses who, you know, coming out of, say, Jupster's race that just won a non-winners of 3 for 14. It's a completely different class. But the problem with him is his last victory was as a 2-year-old in the Rockville Center going wire to wire. I don't see him making the lead here, and he just doesn't always have that punch.
Yeah, I'm not exactly thrilled with him. I thought he ran very well on the sloppy track in February, and his subsequent effort's been somewhat disappointing. But Tom certainly has a lot of confidence in this runner.
I do indeed. I mean, I think you have to go back to his last race, Andy, which I will put as a higher level than these 3-year-olds that are running for straight claim. And he did all the dirty work in that stake race, albeit against New York breds. He put away the heavy favorite by challenging him on the lead. You know, a lot of times that'll cost you, and it did him that day, and they picked him up right at the very end.
This will be start number 10 for What a Catch, 7-2 on the board. Meanwhile, with the kind of meat that the trainer of the 2 has had so far, hard to leave this one off. But right now, 5-2 morning line on Show Me the Bucks for the Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott. Surprised to see 5-1 here?
I am a little bit, because, you know, this horse won first time out, which a lot of Bill Mott runners don't, and then went to Gulfstream, back to Gulfstream Park, and was bet a little bit, and, you know, ran into a speed-favoring racetrack. They tried a mile, then they went into the Long Branch. I know they're dropping for 40. They didn't pay much, but the way this racetrack is playing, you're getting 5-1 on a horse that's going to be launching in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, look, it's a big-time drop in class, right?
Yeah,
And he's
like
coming out of a
little
stakes
bit.
race.
We heard Maggie tell us about the 7. We're trying to find out what the pace of this race is going to be like. We know Jupster, the 6, is quick, but Kendrick Carmouche on the 7 loves to send. He's great on the lead. He warmed this horse up without the pony. As she mentioned, usually a sign indicative of a horse that is going to try and be sent. So we'll see if the 7 puts pressure on Jupster early.
I have a feeling we'll find out really what this track is made of, because I don't know if anybody can run with Jupster.
Wow.
9-5 favorite. American Power on the outside for Jason Service. Powerful performance at Belmont when this barn was almost unbeatable. That has not been the case here at Saratoga. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call. The start of the Naira Bets, late pick 5. Here's Larry Colmus.
And American Power comes up to the outside stall here to complete the line. And still 9-5 odds. They're all in line and ready for the start. They're off. Jupster out for the lead and gets clear right away by 1.5 lengths. On the inside is Earthaway running in second position. I'm an O'Caladude is third to the outside. After that comes Wushu Warrior in fourth. American Power fifth is racing on the outside of horses, while Show Me the Bucks is down toward the rail. What a Catch is at the back, along with Felix in Fabula at the half-mile pole. Jupster ran at 22.23 quarter, leads the way just a 1/2 length. I'm an O'Caladude to the outside, pressing in second. Wushu Warrior goes up 3 wide in third. American Power circling up on the far outside, getting that outside trip and beginning to gain ground toward the pacemakers. Then it's Show Me the Bucks, followed by Earth, who's been shuffled back on the inside. What a Catch is next, and Felix in Fabula. They're coming to the top of the stretch. Jupster cuts the corner. American Power comes 4 wide for the stretch drive. Wushu Warrior is third. I'm an O'Caladude fourth down toward the inside. What a Catch is trying to put in a late bid in the center of the track. American Power strikes the front. On the inside comes Jupster. What a catch on the far outside into third, but it's American Power. American Power and Arad Ortiz Jr. on to victory here. Second, looks like what a catch. Got up over Jupster in the end, and Show Me the Bucks was fourth in 109.76.
Well, Jupster way too quick for this group, but in the end, American Power just way too good for this group.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. The 8 was just too much for these horses. Sat a good trip, sat an outside trip, sat a non-troubled trip, to basically, Tom.
Yeah, no, non-troubled trip. Went around, everybody took the longest route home. Maybe that's the right thing to do today. Ordinarily, you would say, wow, with that wide trip, as you're watching him turn for home, you see him in the Mary and Gary West colors on the outside with the white bridle and the white bandages. He finishes very, very strongly. Big question now is, did the Tom Amoss Racing Stable get him in the claim box? Because we went for him.
We're going to find that out very, very soon.
Well, I'm sure that he's really hoping, American Power, that he's going to Tom Amos's barn. It was a nice performance. I mean, you guys basically said it all. I will say, and the winner was best, too, as well. Good trip or not with this racetrack. I think Jupster, who got nailed for second in all likelihood in this race, actually ran very well in here to finish close as he did, Gabby, considering the pace and the way the track is playing.
Oh, he was pretty much glued to the rail the entire stretch run, so he was not in the best part of the track. But, you know, it's funny to see a race like this in a race that's comprised of class droppers. The 2 horses who were actually stepping up in class were pretty much the most successful.
Those are the Silks that are in the infield lake right now. Gary and Mary West, of course, they won the Travers with West Coast last year and about 4 wide. Here comes Irad Ortiz Jr. and American Power, back-to-back wins, now 3 for 5 in his career.
Yeah, and he showed out to be the best. And again, Irad Ortiz will stretch that lead, that jockey lead, to 3 wins now. And there you see the Gary and Mary West colors of the nice winner, West Coast, last year.
Champion 3-year-old, and incredible performance here.
They put a lot of money in this game. They're good people, too.
Travers 2017. That was a big day.
Yeah, that was.
And Greg, I think it was a big night.
Yes, it was. We had a good time that night, didn't we? Travers this year coming up August 25th, shaping up to be another good one. We're going to see a filly taking on the boys in that race this year. But this race, it's about American Power and translates that Belmont form here to Saratoga. Jason Service gets his second winner of the meet. And Irad Ortiz Jr., the meet's leading rider, picks up another win. We're going to take a break in the action. When we come back, diversify, gate to wire, talk about quick out of the gate. We'll be back with more right after this.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Visit Rivers Casino and Resort, upstate New York's ultimate entertainment destination, with live table game action and the hottest new slots paying out millions. Book your luxury waterfront room or suite at upstate New York's premier resort, the Landing Hotel at Rivers Casino and Resort.
Back on Saratoga Live. I'm going to issue guys a challenge right now.
Okay.
We're looking at Saratoga Lake. Whoever does not cash a pick 5, Naira bets late pick 5 by the end of this week, has to jump in the lake.
By the end of this week.
How about by the end of next week?
Okay.
By
How
the
about
end of,
by the end of the meet?
No,
This is
by
a pick
a
5.
week from Monday, Tom Amos.
Wow.
Got to jump in the lake with what kind of attire?
Yeah, you just going with a swimsuit.
I say just jockey pants, and that's it.
one tie, all tie?
Sounds good to me. American Power, $5.70 for the win. Tom Amos put in a claim for this horse. What happened?
Didn't get the horse.
Oh,
Two
I'm
people
sorry.
went for the horse, myself and Linda Rice. When that happens, they basically draw straws. And I did not draw the long straw.
Let me ask you a question. If you were just like a two-person shake, wouldn't you just like Rochambeau for it? Wouldn't it be better rock, paper, scissors?
That would be fun if we could televise it and show it live.
I think we should televise the process as it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Naira bets late pick 5 follow along. $218,000 total pool. We start off with the favorite, American Power.
Yeah, listen, and award and single if you got that one home. But again, we've been like noticing in these pick 5, even with a short price in the beginning, a lot of people don't like to single. So you still got some prices along the way you can get to.
Race 8, it's on the turf, $32,000 claiming race. Mile and 3/16. Mr. Maybe. Wow. 15-1 morning line. This is now the 3-1 favorite.
That's interesting. You know, maybe a little trouble in his last because he came from so far back. Maybe he wants to go this far, but those are a lot of maybes to make a horse 3-1.
I thought the horse was interesting, but
No,
these odds are obviously going to change.
He's interesting. He's good on numbers, and the other part about this is his best races are here at Saratoga. So maybe somebody put a little wacky bet. So he'll come up a little bit in price.
You see that picturesque, beautiful sun shining in the blue sky there over Saratoga Racetrack? It was not that way right before the Whitney was about to take place. There was a torrential downstorm, thunder and lightning in the area that resulted in a 41-minute delay because of weather. It got a little messy here on the track, and that might have been a good thing for Diversify. The New York bred, he was devastating from the very outset of this race. Any questions that maybe Dalmore was going to get to the front? Those were over from the outset. Man, was he quick out of the gate.
Well, here's the thing. You can say all you want and see all you want on paper till the races run. And right here, you know that he's going to be 100% ultra tough because he got to the front end and he's just got a natural cruising speed that was just better than the rest of these horses, Tom.
He does. They were in the paddock a long time. They sealed the racetrack. When you look at the surface he's running on, just actually look at it right there. You're looking at a sealed racetrack, and that is actually can be a fast strip. It's going to play to speed, and it's going to play to a horse that likes to hear his feet rattle. Diversify likes to hear his feet rattle.
And Rick Violet, the trainer, said we didn't care how aggressive Dalmore was going to be. If we had to go as fast as humanly possible, we were going to go to the front and then just see what happened.
Yeah, listen, you can't take away your horse's best weapon, and his best weapon is speed. He ran them off their feet again. Take nothing away from the other New York bred in here. Mind your biscuits, trying the distance for the first time. The only horse that really made up any ground, and chasing a horse that he had no chance of getting to. And when another horse came outside of him to challenge him for second, he really showed his heart to finish second. So congratulations to Rick Violet. Congratulations to Chad Summers. And congratulations to the New York bred program. They got to be ecstatic.
Third New York bred winner of the Whitney, of course, commentator, won it on 2 occasions, 2005, 2008 for trainer Nick Zito, and Fiorito won it all the way back in 1981. But the New York breds run 1-2 in here. Diversify, though, absolutely sensational, and when he is on the front end, Andy Serling, he is devastating.
And he's an absolutely terrific horse, Diversify. Obviously, and Tom alluded to it, you do feel a little bit badly for some of the other trainers and that, and the horses with the rain. There's nothing we could do about it. The delay, and they're in the paddock a long time. Maybe a number of horses didn't get a chance to run their best race, but I don't think any of us disagree the best horse won.
It's racing, unfortunately, and you know all of the horses had to experience the slop and the rain and the delay, and the best horse won. Diversify, you know, it's funny because I ride Ortiz In watching the entire running of the Whitney, not only was he aggressive with Diversify getting out of the gate, but he was giving him a couple cracks on the backstretch. He was riding him pretty much the entirety of the race, just getting him to go and go fast. And Rick Violet kind of joking afterwards, saying, yep, Irad's finally figured out how to ride this horse.
He's like a good old-fashioned racehorse. I mean, he just wants to run fast early and run fast late. And I think when you watch this race, I think a lot of us thought when they came to the stretch, I'm not convinced he's going to hold on, and I'm a fan. But, you know, Mind Your Biscuits, as Paul alluded to, ran very well in here. And Discreet Lover, he gets my Eclipse vote if I had one and they had an award for the Overachiever of the Year.
He shows up virtually every time against the top horses in the country. It's very admirable, but no taking away from this performance from Diversify. And what I love about it is that Rick Violet, this trainer, listened to his horse and made the right decision to run him in the Whitney.
Now if we can get the connections of Accelerate to skip the Pacific Classic, come for the Woodward, Diversify could run there, we could settle the argument, who's the best older handicap horse in the country, guys?
Well, unfortunately, Diversify said they're not going to go to the Woodward. They're thinking maybe Jockey Club Gold Cup. If they pass on the Breeders' Cup Classic, they're thinking of maybe even Dubai World Cup. They'd love to go in the Pegasus, so a lot of options for them, but it sounds like we're not going to see Diversify in the Woodward. Going to regroup after this incredible performance. As for trainer Rick Violet, had a long, long wait in the paddock to let that weather get through. It turned into a long afternoon, but all worth the wait.
Well, he was kicking the walls, and he's like a piston. I mean, when he gets in there in that real tight enclosure, and it gets a little claustrophobic. Horses are walking, you know, hip to hip, going past each other. When the rain subsided enough, we got him outside just to try to make sure he didn't hurt himself. I thought the ceiling of the racetrack and the rain was going to level the playing field. We weren't going to change our game plan.
They're off in the Whitney. Oh, Diversify broke like a rocket.
I thought the break was very critical, and he couldn't have broken any better. He looked like a quarter horse out of there.
And Diversify gets some daylight with a half-mile to run.
Irad got very aggressive at the half-mile pole and put as much separation between the other horses as he could to get them to, you know, lengthen their run and maybe somewhat diminish their closing kicks, and certainly worked out.
Diversify has won the Whitney in style.
It was a surreal day, from the storm to the rainbow after the race. There are so many different memories that are striking that you just can't put it in. Surreal is probably the best attempt. I have to think we would just go to the Jockey Club. You know, really three tough races in 12 or 13 weeks. I think we have to be smarter than maybe he is, and I think the best plan would be the Gold Cup, and then maybe the Breeders' Cup after that.
Well, it becomes an interesting dilemma for these connections, because he was in as sharp a form as you could be last year, and he got beat when he was on the front end at Churchill Downs in the Clark. That's where the Breeders' Cup is, obviously, this year. But maybe it was just the end of a, accumulation of a long campaign of three really hard races as well.
Make a good point. Plus, under the lights, different ball game in the Clark, different time of the season, and he's in the best form of his life right now. I think it's a different point in his career, and I think this is the time he's got to take a shot.
Let's not forget, that was an audible. They weren't going to run in the Whitney. When they made that decision to run, obviously you're thinking space, more time until you go back in. So that's exactly what they're doing and why they're thinking Gold Cup.
An elite list that Diversify joins of Suburban and Whitney winners in the same year, going back to 1968. Joins Invasor, Lemon Drop Kid NXS, Silverbuck, and Dr. Fager. How about that for Diversify? What an incredible performance, part of just a two-horse string for father and daughter, Ralph and Lauren Evans. Diversify, your 2018 Whitney winner. Next on Saratoga Live, he reeled off 4 straight wins, including 2 graded stakes to start his career. Today, Timeline looks for his first stakes win since that streak came to an end last summer in the Aladar. He'll face Patch, the one-eyed wonder from last year's Kentucky Derby, who tries to become come back from a very tough spot in the Grade 1 Stephen Foster. Welcome to Saratoga Live on this Sunday afternoon. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Great to have you with us. Beautiful weather here on this Sunday afternoon in our feature race. Still to come, that of course is the Aladar in race 10 at 1 1/8. Greg Wolf alongside for New York Met LA Dodger, Paul Duca, one of the top trainers in the country in Tom Amoss. And Timeline coming off a second place finish last time out in the state dinner. Before that, he was a winner. That was at 1 1/16. 1 1/8. Bit of a question mark perhaps for this horse.
Well, yeah, it can be. You know, he's the 2017 Peter Pan winner, and he was the kind of horse that they thought was going to be the horse that's going to go to the Belmont and go forward. It has not happened. So they sort of reset everything. And last time in the state dinner, it was a good second. Gets a good horse in Sunny Ridge. He likes to win races. Can he sit behind horses in here? Can he sit behind Outplay? Does he need to go to the front end? The racetrack has not played towards his running style, but he is by far the horse to beat in the feature.
He's the horse to beat, but those races you're speaking of, Paul, they're all one turn.
Yeah.
Remember, Belmont is 1.5 miles in circumference, so when you run 1 1/16 there, you're running one turn. That's kind of his game. Now he's going 1 1/8, 2 turns here at Saratoga, and that's been his undoing in the past, so we'll see what Timeline does here.
Look at the field for race 8. It's the start of the late pick 4. 1 3/16 on the turf, $32,000 claiming event. Decisive Triumph for trainer Graham Motion with Jose Ortiz, the current favorite, right at his morning line at 5-2. So Decisive Triumph coming out of a stakes race, actually going to be shortening up today from 1 3/16. Went 1.5 miles at Delaware in a stakes event last out.
Yeah, look, this is a horse that needs some pace up front, Paul. If he can get the right setup, he's the best horse in the race. But without that good setup, he'll just be a fast-closing horse that just finishes with the rest of them.
Time for a Paddock Report. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curland for $150,000.
Thanks, Greg. And a little bit of an incident here in the paddock with number 9, hopefully the groom. Okay, he kind of reared up and came down on him when he was on the ground. So we'll keep you updated. But number 4 is Mr. Maybe in here, a horse that is taking a lot of early money for trainer John Toscano. And he's actually been refining his form a little bit. And arguably, this is how far he wants to go, going 1 3/16 or any kind of distance over 1 1/8. And I will say, job well done by the connections. Claiming, off Chad Brown's very difficult, but they've, I think, had to nurse this horse kind of back into good form. And he's a horse that always looked as though he had some issues behind. And he actually looks as though he's finally filling out and rounding out behind the saddle. And he does look very good in here. And I think it's very intriguing that he is taking some early money. Obviously, he will drift up from there. Number 5 is Roman Approval, who is getting back into a company that he could possibly be very effective at. The thing with Roman Approval is that, yes, he does his best running on the front end, and B, his best races have come at Belmont. He absolutely thrives at Belmont Park. Saratoga, he's run okay. He's run okay and good enough to win here, and he looks great here in the paddock for trainer Mike Maker, but we'll see what shakes out here if the tight turns here at Saratoga agree with him, whereas at Belmont, he gets those wide sweeping ones. Moving on towards the outside with one of 2 horses here, or a Todd Pletcher horse, I should say. And number 10, Master Plan. He's one that is coming off of 2 off-the-turf events. Getting back on the turf makes a lot of sense here to me. Looks better than when he did going back to his Saratoga effort in the Saranac, which was a really bad effort. Granted, he was a big price that day, but just looks as though he's put on some weight. He just looks as though he's doing better as a racehorse heading into this one. So here, wow, there's been a lot of bad horses to saddle here in the paddock, including number 3, Arabueno, as well as we'll throw it over to Andy and Gabby.
Thanks, Maggie. Bernay, the number 8, Gabby, a drop down as Jason Service will look to win back-to-back races. I'm not thrilled with his overall performances, but he's not a 6-furlong horse as he tried to do last time, first time for Jason Service. He's my tepid selection here.
For sure. I don't think he wanted any part of that 6 furlongs. I mean, this is a horse who's been going distances upwards of 1 1/4, 1 3/8. And that was a pretty solid group of turf sprinters, not to mention.
Yes.
That said, Andy, the only thing, look, this horse was going a distance of ground when he was in Chad Brown's barn. Now Jason Service gets this horse, and Jason Service does an incredible job with many different types of horses. But turf horses going this distance and farther, he's about 9%, and it's not a strong suit for him.
As I said, it's a tepid selection. I preferred him. I thought there were a lot of questions all around, and I had less questions with him, but it's wide open. You like Warbond. Now, you're not in love with my pick, Bernay. I don't like your pick, Warbond, at all, to be honest. I think he's got other speed to deal with in this race, and when he's been able to be successful, he's beaten inferior horses, at least in my opinion.
That's what makes this game so nice, the difference of opinions. Warbond, the reason why I like him is I think this is a race comprised of horses who have since lost their form and are dropping in class. There are so many horses in here who have not won in a year or two. I like the fact that he at least comes off of a victory. He's staying at the same level. He likes this distance. He just makes sense to me because he's in form.
Well, I'm going to disagree. He hasn't run in over 2 months. In his last race in this field, I think we'll get him about 7th.
Okay.
We'll go to the number 6, Decisive Triumph. But as you say, that's what makes the racing world go round. We love the difference of opinion. Decisive Triumph, and I think he fits in that category you're talking about. I mean, he does have races 2 and 3 back that are good enough to easily win this for Graham Motion, but he's taken that big drop to 32,000. And for what it's worth, first time in a claiming race on the turf, first time for a tag, Graham Motion's just 3 for 38, Gabby, with a 67-cent ROI. This move does not work for this barn, and a good barn at that.
I think one of his better races was his race 2 starts back, going 1.5 miles, because as we see Graham giving instructions to Jose Ortiz before he legs him up on Decisive Triumph.
Saying, please get me a winner.
Yeah.
I'm on the dock.
He's had a lot of seconds, 5 seconds, I believe, so he's trying to get that win. But, you know, I thought his race 2 starts back was good, considering Fantastic, I believe, wired in there, right? It was a forward-running race. The issue for me is that his only turf win came at Kentucky Downs.
Sorry,
I mean,
this is 3 back at
This is
Keeneland.
3 back when he finished a good second at 24-1. I mean, he definitely outran his odds there. But his only victory was at Kentucky Downs in 2016. This horse has question marks about.
He does, and you're talking about a 5-year-old that was off, as you pointed out, for a year and a half, almost a year and a half. But he's come back and run well enough that you wonder about the drop. But you know what? Maybe he's obviously got his issues, and we'll see how it works out. What about the other Mike Maker horse? You like the 9 on the outside, Warbond. Well, the 5 Roman Approval. I mean, what chance did he have last time out against the field he was running at Arlington Park? He fits here. The question is, will he be in front, or will Warbond, the 2 Mike Maker horses? They both have speed.
I would have to think Roman Approval. He seems like he's naturally faster, and he's been setting the pace against tougher company, and he draws an inside post. I mean, I don't think they're going to be going crazy fast, but I would imagine that Roman Approval might be just a touch faster.
A lot of question marks in here, guys, and of course there's the turf condition to think about as well. It's yielding out there.
Yeah, a little bit of give in the ground, so we got to take that into consideration as well. But yeah, going back to Decisive Triumph, the 6th, everybody else in this field is at least a multiple winner, 2 wins or more over the turf. For Decisive Triumph, just that 1 victory, and as Gabby mentioned, it was a long time ago, back September 2016.
Yeah, so look, here's the deal with Decisive Triumph. He's a horse that demands pace up front to set up for what he likes to do, which is close. He's dropping in class down to a level that I think he's going to be very comfortable in. Does he get enough speed up front? Paul, my answer is yes. I think Roman Approval tries to show speed, the 5 horse. The 8 Bernay is also up there close to the front. On the outside, Natural Order, I think he tries to show some speed. Even Master Plan, the 10. So I think he gets the setup, and he gets a small enough field that when it's time for him to make his run, he can maneuver his way through, come home in front.
Yeah, I just don't know how you want to take 5-2. You talk about value. The horse hasn't won in so long. You know, that's your worry. And when you get to Bernay, you know, you're looking at a horse that was a 6-time winner, and then you go, okay, wait a second. Is that right? He did not race in 2016 and 2017, you know? So is he now getting into shape now into a new barn, 2nd time for Jason Service?
Yeah, it could be. Look, that's why he shows speed. He's coming off a 6 furlong sprint. Andy said it downstairs. He's right. Gabby said it as well. 6 furlongs on the turf is not what he wants to do. He wants to get those 2 turns. But a race like that can't help but put speed in him. He's close, 6 or 7 lengths off the lead. They're going 21 and change, 44 flat. He's going to be up there.
And he was only 3 lengths behind, or excuse me, 5 lengths behind off a 3-year layoff of Rocketry and you know, in St. Louis. There's some decent horses, you know what I mean?
And it's interesting that the Mike Maker horses, the 5, the 9, both of them are very quick and want to be forwardly placed.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the key here, right? Do the 5 and the 9 go at it? You know, Andy alluded downstairs. He doesn't really like Warbond because he doesn't feel he can get to the front end and have everything his own way. If that does happen, it includes a lot of different horses.
Look, Warbond likes to set the pace and do it his own way. He's not going to get to do that today. Warbond is going to have company in the front end. The 9 is in a difficult spot today.
Warbond, the 9, 6-1 on the board. He'll have Kendrick Carmouche aboard in the irons. We heard the call to post. Our post parade here coming up for this 8th race. Again, a mile and 3/16 over the turf. A little good luck from Graham Motion's daughter there.
And good luck charm, maybe.
In town for the weekend, I believe. Ere Bueno, the 9-year-old for Gary Contessa.
He has 13 victories on form, but last time out he faced open 12,500 claimers and couldn't get the job done.
28-1. He skipped to the 4-horse here, Mr. Maybe. John Toscano Jr. training with Joel Rosario.
He's one that really does show up. His last race was good, but another one who has not won in quite some time.
Some pace I expect we'll see out of the 5 here. Roman approval, Luis Saez for Mike Maker.
He's a speed, but he's got to deal with speed from a stablemate and even the 12 natural order. We'll see, though. Nice class dropper.
Current favorite, Decisive Triumph, trained by Graham Motion.
Graham Motion hoping to turn some of those seconds into first. Decisive Triumph. I think it's the horse to beat, but still vulnerable.
Bernay, the 8 Irad Ortiz Jr. for trainer Jason Service.
Stretching out from 6 furlongs to this distance today, I would say that definitely moves him up.
Warbond, there is the 9, Kendrick Carmouche for Mike Maker.
Speed is his weapon. Gabby likes him more than I do. A lot more than I do.
Warming up without the pony, maybe trying to put some speed in there. And here's the 3 Halloween Horror, Dylan Davis. Gary Contessa off the claim.
I don't know what turf race he has that makes him even remotely competitive in this spot.
32-1 on the 3. Here's the 10, Master Plan, Javier Castellano for Todd Pletcher.
His last turf race was in the Grade 3 Saranac, so yes, he's getting a class relief.
In natural order to the outside, it's Manny Franco riding for Ray Handel.
One who could also employ some speed to the picture, but he's going to have to work out a trip from that outside post.
16-1 on natural order. That is your field here for this 8th coming up. Again, a mile and 3/16 over this yielding turf course. We're going to take a quick break in the action. We will be back. We're approaching the 3-minute mark to post coming up for the start of the late pick 4. When we return, Patch still to come in our feature race in the Aladar, 3rd in last year's Belmont Stakes. He was a fan favorite in the Kentucky Derby last year. We're going to see him again coming up.
This successful son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast, a multiple Grade 1 winner and runner-up in the $16 million Pegasus World Cup. This year, Flatter is adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record at stud. In the auction ring, Flatter topped the 2018 Fasig-Tipton July sale with a $520,000 yearling. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired, New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a 2nd time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close 2nd in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires. 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Back on Saratoga Live here on Fox Sports 2 and other regional networks across the country. We've got a lot of Bostonians coming to Saratoga this summer.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize it's actually a shorter drive from Boston than it is from Long Island, New York to get here to Saratoga.
8th race coming up, mile and 3/16 on the turf. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, you know, Andy and Gabby were kind of alluding to this fact. It's a really kind of strange entry of the two Mike Maker horses because you have Roman Approval. His only way is to go to the lead. And then you have number 9 in here, Warbond, who was the one who was acting up in the paddock. I mean, he was being really bad. Hopefully his groom is okay. He actually had to be attended to by the EMTs. He was wound up here in the post parade. He has Kendrick aboard. This horse is exuding all the signs of a horse that's going to be up towards the front end. I don't know exactly why both of these horses are in here from the same barn. We'll see what plays out. But Warbond, I don't love the energy he was expending pre-race, but then again, maybe he's just feeling good. Bernay is an interesting runner, as Andy was talking about. You know, it kind of almost feels that they turned him back just to kind of freshen him up and get a little bit more speed into him as they'll stretch him back out here. He looked fantastic, and as he gets more distance to cover today, he was a lot more relaxed than what he was for that 6 furlong race. We'll see if Jason Service can go back-to-back here in the 8th, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Yeah, Jason Service runner, the 8 Bernay, 5-1 on the board. And guys, you know, when we first looked at the odds for this race, the 4, Mr. Maybe, the long shot opened up his favorite. He hasn't floated up all that much. He's still taking money at 9-2.
No, he's well thought of. Mr. Maybe's well thought of. And I think as a handicapper, you have to pay attention to that. When money shows on the board, you should always be alert to it. We're talking about the 4, Mr. Maybe.
And the other part about this on the drop here, with the 5, or excuse me, with the 8 and the money, Mr. Dubs, the owner, he likes to win owner's titles here.
Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call. Here's Larry Colmus, race 8, Saratoga.
Ready for the start. They're off. Good beginning for Roman Approval, who goes out to lead them early. Natural Order on the outside, also prominent. These two out to the front. Bernay in behind them, and then to the outside comes Warbond, who now moves up a spot and takes 3rd. Halloween Horror is 5th and down on the inside by 2. Then Master Plan at Arbueno down toward the rail. Decisive Triumph is next, and last of them all is Mr. Maybe as they make their way into that first turn, led along by Roman Approval, who's on top now by 3/4 of a length over Natural Order through a 24.17 opening quarter mile. Halloween Horror is 3rd on the inside. Then Warbond 3 wide. Bernay behind them. Master Plan races 6 lengths off the lead. Break of another 2.5 to Decisive Triumph, who's just to the outside of Arbueno. Last of them all is Mr. Maybe as they race on to the backstretch. It is Roman Approval and Luis Saez up top through a 49.43 half mile. Natural Order a half length behind, running in 2nd by 2.5 lengths. Warbond is 3rd on the outside. Halloween Horror is 4th. Bernay behind them in 5th. Master Plan racing 6.5 lengths off the lead. 2.5 lengths more back to Decisive Triumph, who races outside of Arbueno, and the trailer is Mr. Maybe. So now the field racing for the far turn. Roman Approval all the way so far. 3/4 in 1:14.43 seconds. Natural Order a half length behind. Warbond and Kendrick Carmouche begin to roll on the outside. Master Plan just in behind the leaders, going well enough. And now from the back of the pack, Mr. Maybe the Gray is going 7 wide, but circling up on the outside with Decisive Triumph. They're into the stretch. Roman Approval to catch. Mr. Maybe with that wide rush on the outside. Master Plan between those two, coming strong too. A furlong to run. Mr. Maybe, Master Plan. Roman Approval tries to dig in, but it's down to Mr. Maybe and Master Plan, and Master Plan's got it. Master Plan, Mr. Maybe, these two coming down to the wire. It's gonna be a photo finish. Oh, that was tight. Master Plan or Mr. Maybe, they hit the wire right together. Then came Roman Approval and Decisive Triumph in 1:59.04.
Final late surge, and that made this a photo finish. It looked like the race was over, but Mr. Maybe makes it real interesting.
This got really, really, really tight, and I think that Larry Colmus might have made a premature call, but the 10 might have won this race.
Yeah, this was an interesting race. As Greg alluded to, it really looked like the race was in fact over, as Todd Pletcher's trained horse number 10 Master Plan seemed to be holding off Mr. Maybe, but maybe he got the bob here, Gabby. I mean, we are seeing some thrilling finishes here. Here it is, Gab.
Whoa, that's too close for me to call. I'm sorry, I cannot call that. And the funniest thing about it is that Mr. Maybe in the past has had a tendency to kind of hang, and this horse actually came back and really, really fought on. Honestly, looking at these horses and just the entire running of the race as we see both of them, I don't know who won, but these two both were covering the ground so nicely, and that's key on a turf course like this.
Was indeed. You know, look, the finish was tight. The advantage goes to the outside in these photos. I thought the 10 Master Plan won, but call me, maybe?
Wow.
We talked about the other day what a strong finishing rider, that was a good line, by the way, what a strong finishing rider Joel Rosario is, and he may just have done it again.
I'm a little dumbfounded that he just dropped us. Yes, and the 10 did win the Bob Master Plan. What a race. And he's right. We have seen some amazing finishes come right down to the wire, and Pletcher on the phone goes, we got home.
By a whisker. Master Plan awfully tight. Todd Pletcher will take it. So we're Javier Castellano. 10-4-5-6. That's how close it was. What, millisecond after this, Mr. Maybe was in front.
Here's the crazy part. We talked right before the race. The money is smart.
Yes, indeed.
Right? Wolf, Greg Wolf, you're the one that mentioned that. And look, how about this? Mr. Maybe actually went up and almost won the race. They are sharp here as can be.
Yeah, that early money was dead on, huh? Horse, it was 15-1 on the morning line. Right there, but comes up short. How tough. If you're the connections to Mr. Maybe, you got to be saying, what do we got to do to win here?
You know, I've been saying that all meet long, but yeah, I mean, you definitely get that from Mr. Maybe, because that horse ran a winning race.
Incredible. And he was so wide around the turn. I was saying to you guys, this looked like the kind of move Uni made yesterday in the De La Rose.
Yeah, I wanted to the guys downstairs. Do you think that Master Plan sort of re-rallied because he saw the four to the outside of him?
I think that's a reasonable question, Paul. I mean, because you can't really say at the end of it that Mr. Maybe hung because he surged again at the wire. So I think that's entirely clear. At the end of the day, these two just ran very well.
No, they did, and we could see Mr. Maybe kind of starting to go out in the center of the course, and I almost wonder if that helped him resurge, because if he brought him closer to the 10, maybe he wouldn't have had that type of finish.
No, I agree. The rails are way out here, and if you look at the time, guys, 1:59 in a small piece for 1 mile and 3/16. The track record is probably a good, it's actually almost 8 seconds slower, so they call it yielding. It is every bit of that.
Dead tight finish here, and at this point, 10-horse Master Plan, he's got a little company in Mr. Maybe, but he surges away, and at this point you're like, okay, race is over. Mr. Maybe re-rallies, finds more, but Master Plan just able to hang on. That was a great finish. When we come back, who gets those amazing photo finishes for us and the winner's circle photos and everything else to see around the racetrack. We're going to meet the track photographer next.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb was the leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including stakes winners Autumn Warrior and Orvolution, stakes performer Scrapper, and TDN Rising Star Explorer. In the sales ring, his progeny continue to sell well beyond his stud fee, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga, Classic Winner, Classic Pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Success starts at Saratoga. The Saratoga Selected Yearling Sale has established a reputation for high quality and high performance. Recent graduates include Grade 1 winners Avenge, Bolt d'Oro, and Moonshine Memories, and 2017 Breeders' Cup champions Battle of Midway, Stormy Liberal, and Rushing Fall. The nation's #1 sale by percentage of Grade 1 winners, the Fasig-Tipton Saratoga Sale, August 6th and 7th.
We found Breeders' Cup champion Rushing Fall at Saratoga. Where will you be?
Welcome back to Saratoga Live here in the winner's circle with trainer Todd Pletcher, who sent out Master Plan for a narrow victory. Todd, you're always cool. Did you know you had it?
I didn't. We've had 3 seconds so far here today, 1 second at Gulfstream, so I was like, oh, please, not another one. But actually, when they went by the wire the first time, I thought he got beat, and then when I saw the slow-mo, I said, maybe we got the bob, so we got lucky.
I actually, watching it live, too, I thought you got beat, and then same thing here. But when you just keep running second, isn't that the worst thing as a trainer?
Oh, man, you hate to get on those kind of streaks, so we're happy to win that one.
And Master Plan, a stakes winner, kind of just finding his form again, take a little bit of a class drop, and back to the turf helped, obviously.
Obviously, that was the big thing. You know, we ran him twice off the turf just because he did finish third in the UAE Derby, and we were hoping he could regain his form, but getting back on the turf was the key today.
Also on the turf, he sent out Pillar Mountain, only his 3rd start of his career. There's some Irish pedigree there. Do you think this turf course will help him a bit more than the very firm going that we had back at Belmont in his 1st start for you?
I think the soft ground could help, but I think the mile and 3/8 should really help. You know, he's away slow first time. He's shown us in the mornings he's a big galloper. He always finishes up well and gallops out strongly. So I think the mile and 3/8 should help.
All right, Todd, well, congrats here. Best of luck in the next. We'll let you run and saddle him.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, Todd Pletcher sending out a couple more live ones here on our show.
Maggie, thank you very much. Again, that is how close it was in this thriller here in race 8. And I feel for Mr. Maybe's connection, that's a tough beat, but well done to Master Plan, Todd Pletcher, Windstar Farm, China Horse Club, and Javier Castellano.
Yeah, Senator Twilly Candy added the Henny Hughes mare, Sage Mist. Now, 4 for 12 lifetime. That double comes back $24 for the start of that late Naira Pick 5 with a great pool of $218,000. You got a nice little price.
And it was 5-1 on either of these horses, but the 5-1 on the 4 would have probably played a lot bigger because that horse was 15-1 morning line, but it's still going to play great. $218,000 in this Naira Bets late Pick 5 pool. Get another upset or two, and these are going to be some monstrous payouts.
I will say this, going into this race, the 1 and the 1A are heavy favorites in the Pick 3 wheel plays. I know they're 2-1 on the board, but they're playing close to even money, maybe even lower in the Pick 3 wheel plays.
We're going even longer on the turf in this one. 1 mile and 3/8 over the inner turf. It's an entry-level allowance. And Uncle Gio, blinkers going on for Michelle Nevin.
Look, one of many contenders in this race that is pace dependent. Pace dependent meaning he's got to have some pace up front for him to have that close. The blinkers are on to maybe get better position early to help him along so he doesn't have to make up so much ground. But again, where's the pace coming from in here? This is more of a puzzle than the last race.
Does it get more beautiful than that?
No, it doesn't.
What a great day here at the premier race meet in the country. Fans still piling in with a few more races on the card, including our feature, the Aladar, still to come on this Sunday afternoon. We'll be back to the spa right after this.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a 2nd time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close 2nd in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record-setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Off the turn with a link to the half lead. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Chelsea Durand, and I'm a track photographer. Track photographer, the main thing that we do is shoot the finish line of every race and the winner's circle. For a finish line photo, if you're shooting just straight across the track, all four off the ground, or there's like 2 strides that look really good. If it's a really close race, as long as the horse is in front, because sometimes it's not a good stride, but as long as the horse is in front and it's at the wire, before the wire, that's what we use. And there's also extra events going on at the track every weekend that we have to shoot for marketing and whatever else the track needs. I actually went to school for fine art photography, which has nothing to do with sports at all. So I understood like exposure, composition, how to use the camera, but I never shot anything moving, really, that quickly at least. And the equipment's different, it's much nicer than what I was used to, but you get the hang of it. So I started horseback riding when I was 8 and loved horses ever since, and also had a passion for photography, so it was really just combining the 2 passions coming here. There was a lot to learn. There's still a lot to learn. Like, I had no idea there was so much involved in horse racing. My favorite one was when California Chrome was running for the Triple Crown. That was the first time I ever shot morning workouts. I got a headshot, and it was on the cover of Blood Horse. And it was kind of cool because the Blood Horse covers I've gotten previously were all races, like that same angle I always shoot. So this was like the one that was different. And it's like, I just woke up 2 weeks in a row at like 4 a.m. and that was worth it. One of the most exciting moments was when I entered a photo for an Eclipse Award, and I got honorable mention of a photo of a horse keyed as a 10 jumping in a shadow at the finish line. When the horses are coming down to the wire, like, I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack. It's like, I feel like half the reason is like I hope my camera doesn't break, and the other half, like, it's very exciting. Like when American Pharoah won the Triple Crown, I was lucky enough to see that, only being here for 5 years, and I like flipped out. Yeah, it was pretty emotional, and I was like, oh, I guess I like horse racing.
And there is Chelsea, very talented at what she does. She went a little John Woo on us with those birds flying in the barn. Here's how good she is. She managed to make our ugly mugs look tremendous going up on the tote board at Belmont and Saratoga.
Yeah, she did. And she had a tremendous picture the other day of Hofberg when he had won, and then there's the picture of the test of separation of powers.
And this is after the rains and storms cleared yesterday from the Whitney. Diversify with the going to the winner's circle. Very talented, Chelsea Durand. We have race 9 coming up here. Mile 3/8 on the turf ahead. Still dealing with a yielding turf course. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale now for a Paddock Report. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm. Now standing Byron for $15,000. Maggie?
Thanks, Greg. And yeah, we will check in with that Todd Pletcher trainee as he's looking for back-to-back scores here, as Team Valor will have that coupled entry of the 1 and 1A, Pillar Mountain and Gauguin. But Pillar Mountain is a very lightly raced horse who last time out was coming off of a layoff. And to me, just looked as though he needed a race. He was a little soft around the edges. And as Todd said, he's that big galloping type that, you know, he probably doesn't put that much effort into his morning workout. So therefore, you kind of got to race him into fitness. And furthermore, the distance and the going, I think, will suit this horse down to the ground. And he just looks 10 times more fit than what he did back at Belmont on July 5th. Next, we'll check in with one of 2 Grand Motion trainees. Number 6 is Holiday Bonus. This horse was the one that, as they walked in a single file into the paddock, that I was just drawn to. He looks tremendous here, and I do feel bad for Grand Motion because his horses are coming over here in good nick. I mean, they look tremendous. Each and every one of them, I can't fault. He's just got some unlucky trips and some unlucky photos as well. So we'll see if we can break through here with number 6, Holiday Bonus. Definitely looking the part here in the paddock. Guys, this is an interesting race. Andy and Gabby, which way did you all go?
Well, I think the way we're going, Maggie, is to basically go against Gauguin, and he's going to be lower the entry, and Gauguin is the 1A, the one they're betting. he's going to be a shorter price than that. And the problem with Gauguin, and he actually ran pretty well last time out, Gabby, he just doesn't seal the deal.
He doesn't, and you can't look at this horse in his last race in isolation, because if you do, then you're going to want to bet him. Right. I actually thought that his last race was really good. He had a wide trip. He was close to a pace that seemingly fell apart and set up for Red Knight. I even thought that out of that race, Holiday Bonus ran a good race too. But even prior to that, as you mentioned, he just hasn't had that tendency to just finish.
His race 2 back was especially poor, and that was at today's 1 3/8 distance. And I don't know if 3 turns is better or worse for him than 2 turns, but don't forget he had this distance around 3 turns last year, and he ran well. And I don't want to say he can't win, and I don't think you're saying that either. What we're saying is that he's a horse that has had a lot of chances. He's 1 for 14 lifetime with 10 seconds and thirds, and he's losing. I mean, look at it. He did run well in here, Gabby. You're absolutely right.
Really well, yeah.
But Red Knight, who was a tough horse, he stole a victory from him that he was supposed to seal the deal, Gauguin. He may be the main speed here, though. That may help his chance. We look at Chris McCarron. He's here for the Jockey's Day. And I'll tell you one thing about Chris McCarron. He was one heck of a rider.
I'm part of Team Valor International.
Oh, yeah, of course he is. Right, exactly. And that's why he's here with Gauguin. Thank you for that, Gabby. I appreciate that. I can use all the help I could get around here. Let's switch to the 2 on the captain now, who finished just behind Gauguin last time. I feel like this horse is really improving. I know he's another 1 for 13 with 6 seconds and thirds, but, you know, he broke his maiden 2 starts ago, and he's the one I prefer the most in here, and I like his price.
I like his price too, but I actually thought he was flattered by the dynamics of the race last time out. And beyond that, he's going to need some pace in front of him here today, and I don't see him getting that. Mathematician has speed, but who else does?
Do we think that maybe the inner turf course, having taken so much rain, and let's face it, it's yielding. It's probably on the softer side of yielding being in there. That may mitigate the advantage of speed in here or not?
Well, we saw speed hold up on the turf sprint earlier today in the Troy. We saw wire to wire.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I need to go back and double check. But we did see a horse go wire to wire.
Melon.
I hear you, though. Generally speaking, especially 2 turns on the turf, it hurts. 3 turns on the turf, 2 turns, 3 turns, 4 turns.
Both of us could use all the help we could get here. The 3 Uncle Gio ran well in his last start with a very wide trip, and it was a race at an extraordinarily slow pace. I'm just not convinced he's not better a little bit shorter. Maybe that's something that helps Gauguin, and I'm the captain now, is he's one of the major players, and he may want less distance.
That's fair. He is the only 2-time winner in this race, though, which I think gives him a little bit of an advantage in a race that nobody really enjoys winning. I don't think the soft turf today is going to hurt him. The question is the blinkers on. This is a weird move for a horse that I don't think necessarily looks like he needs them.
Well, that's always a question. Blinker changes frequently or somewhat acts of desperation, guys.
Also here for Uncle Gio on the board at 3-1, making that equipment change. We take a look here at the 5 Convict Pike for Rusty Arnold coming out of a stakes race at Indiana.
Yeah, so here, pace is pace, Paul. And this is the pace, Convict Pike. You look at his pedigree, it may not be suited to go quite this far on the grass, but I see a pedestrian pace, and I see the 5-horse Convict Pike, the one setting it. And if that's going to be the situation, and you have all the major players needing pace for them to get their late close, which is why you're seeing blinkers on a few of these, you know, then advantage Convict Pike. And what a price, 8-1.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. The worry is he's 0 for 10 in the last 2 years. I get it, but there's a lot of horses in here that are 1 for a lot. Sometimes you want to look for 1 for the least, but when you have a horse like this, why not try to put this horse on the front end? His 2 races before, they put him over his head at Indiana. And by the way, Indiana is the complete opposite of kind of ground he's going to get today. It's rock hard compared to today. So I do think the 5 is a player, but again, he is 1 for 15 lifetime.
Hasn't loved turf courses with a little give in it either.
True. But I'll tell you what, the Indiana turf course has yielded fast times, and it's hard as a rock. So he didn't love that at all. So, you know, I would think that other one when he was at Churchill Downs and some other races are okay. He's going to have to improve, though.
There's a look at Mathematician. Call for riders up. Junior Alvarado hopping aboard the 7 there for trainer Mark Hennig. Captain Hardship. Graham Motion sending out another one here. Jose Ortiz will be aboard this horse coming off a win at 1 mile and 3/8 last time out. That was at Belmont. And that was the 11th time out, finally breaking through.
Yeah, look, another one that ran well from off the pace, but another one that wants something up front, softening up those leaders.
Yeah, you make a good point. They put blinkers on him, 5 starts ago. It did sharpen his pace up a little bit, made him more tactable, and he got the job done. But then again, when it takes Graham Motion, an elite trainer like that, 11 starts to get a horse to break his maiden, you have some worries a little bit against probably a little saltier field, obviously, first time against winners.
Entry at 7-5 on the board. They're going to break right next door to each other in this race in the middle of the field. Pillar Mountain, second start here in the States for Todd Pletcher. The other half of the entry, the much more experienced Go Again for Hall of Famer Bill Mott, who just missed by a nose last start. Call to post in our post parade here coming up as we approach the 7-minute mark to post. So we'll start with a horse who has the rail in here. I'm the Captain Now, 2015 Fasig-Tipton October sale graduate for Barclay Tag.
Yeah, I'm the Captain Now. Is a horse that wants some pace. He really ran well last time. Didn't get what he wanted up front and still only got beat ahead.
Pillar Mountain, half of the entry here, has Joel Rosario for Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, if you're buying in for one for the least, this is the horse that you want, right? You know, only 1 for 2 lifetime. And we'll see what happens today.
And the entry in the Silks of Team Valor International. Here's the other half, Gauguin for Bill Mott.
You know, Andy makes a good point. He doesn't love to seal the deal. He feels like a horse that can win this race by a lot, or he just likes to run second or third.
5 horse is Convict Pike, Ashbrook Farm, Jose Lizcano, and Rusty Arnold.
I hope that Tom's right. I hope they send this horse to the league and hope for the best.
We back up to the 3 Uncle Gio equipment change. Blinkers on for Michelle Nevin with John Velasquez.
Yeah, I think the blinkers on are designed to get him a little closer to the pace. Andy said it earlier. I agree. They're moves of desperation, and he is hot in the post parade.
6 horse holiday bonus, the 2016 Fasig-Tipton May Sale graduate for Graham Motion.
He was in a great spot last time, and he could not seal the deal. That makes me doubt his credibility.
7 is Mathematician, trained by Mark Hennigs on a quality road with Junior Alvarado.
Maybe this is the other pace, like Gabby was saying downstairs, and that could happen in here. And he could be dangerous at 14-1 because he's got a 1.25 mile race under his belt.
And Captain Hardship, Jose Ortiz, rides for Graham Motion and Revelation Racing Partners.
He ran well from off the pace last time. He'll try to move up to the next level and do it again.
That's your field here, running on this yielding turf course coming up here in the 9th, going 1 mile and 3/8. Our show brought to you in part each and every day by the champion sprinter, Run Happy, who was a perfect 7 for 7 sprinting in his career, doing it all the while without the use of Lasix medication. Our feature's still to come, but right now it's race 9 ahead. When we return, Gauguin trying to win for Team Valor and Bill Mott when we come back.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, and this is a piece of American history right here. This carousel's in Congress Park, carved personally by one of the most famous carousel carvers in the history of the world. And shame on you, Paul LaDuca and Tom Amos, if you think you're too grown up and adults don't ride carousels, because you should be on this thing before this meet's over.
So here's the problem. I rode this about 2 years ago before you were done.
Did
and
you
I
really?
also drank the water on the outside that is supposed to be very, very special right outside.
Yeah, the spring
carousel.
water.
Yeah, the spring water. And so far, so good. I'm alive at my pick 5. I thought it's bringing me good luck. So you judged me before that package came out, Greg Wolf.
And it's only 50 cents to ride that carousel as well. SaratogaVisit.com, where you can find out about all the unique things around town. There's a lot going on around town. What's going on tonight? What are you guys doing?
Dinner, but you make such a great point that there's so much history and so much to do around town here.
There really is. Not just about the racetrack, but we love going to the races. With more in this race coming up, we're going to go to Maggie Wolfendale on horseback.
Just got to watch some of these horses warm up here. And honestly, guys, the entry, I know they're favored. They were the ones that impressed him the most. Both of them, Pillar Mountain and Gauguin, were moving beautifully. Gauguin got a pretty aggressive warm-up, though, here. So we'll see if that has any bearing on the way he runs here, but I do like the way he moved, at least, in his warm-up. You know, Uncle G is a little bit interesting. Last time this horse won, and I interviewed trainer Michelle Nevin, I remember Johnny V coming back and saying, you know, each time I ride him, I think that he needs blinkers. And then I get on him, and then he's a little rank, and so I don't know. So they opt to put a pair of blinkers on, but just a really, really short cut. Now, he is a horse that does get nervous. He's always a bit hot. He's always a bit sweaty. This is very typical for him as I'm observing it out here on the racetrack. He's staying with the pony. Like, he's not a horse that I'm always going to love, but I think it's interesting that they opt to put the blinkers on after saying they weren't sure about it the last time that he had won here, Greg.
Interesting. So, yeah, blinkers going on today for the 3 Uncle Gio. You see John Velasquez there, 5-2 on the board right now in the 3.
Hey, look, I'm not going to doubt that he's not a major player in this race based on his past performances, but I'm just going to say again, when you get into these marathon-style races, if you have horses that have to have a lot of pace up front, I have a great deal of difficulty finding where that's going to come from in this race.
And our analyst, a little bit all over the place in here. Paul LaDuca, Tom Amos, though, agreeing.
You took the 5, Paulie?
On Convict Pike?
I like Convict Pike a little bit. I thought you needed to reach for a price in there. I really did, because, you know, you're looking at a turf course. We don't really know how it's going to play. You're looking at a horse in Gauguin. Listen, unless you're like in Pillar Mountain in Gauguin, that I think you can beat. I think a lot of these colts are not, and geldings are not far off. I saw Andy like the 2 a little bit. I gave that horse a hard look, too. Barkley Tag takes time with his horses. I thought
Good
that
point.
horse was improving.
Very good point.
I don't know. I think it's a shot. You can take a shot against 6.
Are you 6-5 on anybody in this race? Did you think warranted?
Like I said, in the pick 3s, the horse is paying 4-5, or the entry is. So they've been sharp, the bettors. If you get anybody else but the 1A, and you need anybody else in the 1A for your late pick 4 or your late pick 5, you're going to be in really good shape.
4 seconds, 6 thirds in 14 career starts for the, you would think, that tougher half of that entry. Loading up here. For race 9, our feature race, of course, still to come. That is the Aladar Timeline Outplay Patch. All getting set to do battle in that race. Still to come in race 10. But right now it's this 9th here. My Own 3/8 on the turf. And the yielding turf conditioning, throwing a little wrench into handicappers' plans here on who gets the job done in this marathon event over the inner turf. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
Captain Hardship has moved in, and they're all in line. They're off. Convict Pike out of the gate well and out for the early lead. With Gauguin on the outside away running in second. These two will dispute the pace early on, and they kick away to lead by 3. Captain Hardship is next on the outside of Holiday Bonus, who's on the rail in 4th. Then Mathematician, followed by I'm the Captain Now and Uncle Gio. And Pillar Mountain is very wide on that first turn and getting a bit closer now. 5 wide, coming to the top of the stretch for the first time. And now Pillar Mountain's going to drag all the way up to the front. Gauguin Goes right with him. Convict Pike is next after 25.5 quarter. Now these three race across the track. And they're clear 2.5 lengths of Uncle Gio, running along in fourth by another 2. Captain Hardship is next by another 2 lengths. And then it's Holiday Bonus, followed by Mathematician on the outside. I'm the Captain Now trails as these top 2 speed off, and they really take off going into that clubhouse turn. 48.92, the pace is quickened, and it is Convict Pike going at it now with Gauguin. They're stride for stride. Pillar Mountain lays off of them 4 lengths behind with Uncle Gio to the outside, and it's another 3 lengths more back to Captain Hardship. Then comes Holiday Bonus, followed by Mathematician, and I'm the Captain Now. So they continue through 3 quarters and 13.64 seconds. Gauguin on the outside. On top, 3/4 of a length. Convict Pike is second by another 2.5. Pillar Mountain is third. Uncle Gio fourth on the outside. And then comes Captain Hardship together with Holiday Bonus, 4 lengths off the lead as they tighten up. And then it's I'm the Captain Now and Mathematician trailing the field, moving for the far turn. And now it is Pillar Mountain who comes to an opening on the inside to grab the lead. Pillar Mountain takes off here, leads by 1.5 lengths. As they make their way around the far turn. Holiday Bonus, second on the inside. Uncle Gio is third. I'm the Captain Now fourth. Captain Hardship comes up on the outside fifth. They're at the top of the stretch. And it is Pillar Mountain on the outside. At the rail, Holiday Bonus to the front. Holiday Bonus is taking the lead here. Pillar Mountain, I'm the Captain Now, closing on the outside. Here's I'm the Captain Now down the center of the course, grabbing the lead. Pillar Mountain second, Holiday Bonus back into third as they come down to the line. I'm the Captain Now. Won it by 1.5 lengths over Pillar Mountain. And then it was Holiday Bonus and Captain Hardship in 2:19.16.
I'm the Captain Now gets the win in here, and the coupled entries seem like they couldn't get their game plan together.
I'm not so sure that first time up the stretch that Rosario didn't range up to Castellano and said, hey, man, you're supposed to get going. And all of a sudden they separated after that.
Okay, it was weird. I mean, it was very, very weird. I mean, the 1A's got the front end, Gauguin. He's dueling basically with the horse we like, Convict Pike. And Pillar Mountain just quickened up the pace, guys. And good call, Andy, because he made the last run on the Captain Now.
This was an exceptional ride by Manny Franco. If you watch this race, he was intent on saving ground, but he gave himself room watching the head-on, which we actually showed during it. So he was off the rail enough, so when the leader tired the number 5 horse, he didn't back up in his face. And Manny saving all that ground and then angling out in the stretch, it obviously made the difference in a close finish. The one Pillar Mountain ran very well to be second. Holiday Bonus, Grand Motion, just another tough beat for him. He looked the winner mid-stretch, but Manny Franco really made the difference on this winner for Trainer Barkley Tag.
Meanwhile, and there's a look at I'm the Captain Now getting it done. It took him 11 starts to break through and get that first win of his career. Now he does it again just 3 starts later for the second victory. And he does so at 5-1. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Here with jockey Manny Franco with I'm the Captain Now. Manny, this is not the easiest horse to get along with. He's very obstreperous when they put the tack on. He gets a little wound up here on the track too, but when you ask him to run, he responds beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm agree with you. It's the horse that you have to, keep him busy all the way around. But I brought him before, and I know him, so today I was ready for him, and he was there for me too.
I was going to say, you had to be encouraged by the fact that they were going pretty fast in front of you, and this is a horse that really likes to come with that late closing kick.
Yeah, I mean, he did a great effort today because the way the track is too, it's kind of soft and it's favorable for the speed horses, and he coming from last. He did a great job today.
Well, Manny, you did a great job as well. Andy Serling actually giving you some accolades.
Yeah, that's my man.
I love it. All right, Manny, well done here with I'm the Captain Now. Manny and Andy, this is a newfound relationship, Greg.
I love it. Manny Franco, he knows Andy Serling very well. And he always gives good accolades to this young rider. We talked a lot about him at the Belmont meet as well. He was tied for third at the meet, and he brought that momentum, Andy, here into Saratoga, and he's continuing to ride well.
I think he's a fabulous rider. Listen, we've got a room full of fabulous riders. Let's not pretend Manny Franco's the only guy out there riding well, but Manny is really great to watch him just get better and better. And, you know, the Ortiz brothers get so much attention around here, and for good reason, that Manny Franco gets a little bit forgotten about at times, and to me, he is really one of the best riders in the country, and this ride shows why.
There's trainer Barclay Tagg, and it just never gets old to win here at Saratoga.
Never does. And Barclay been in the spotlight before with the Kentucky Derby winner for Saratoga Stables. You see those guys out here all the time with Funny Side.
They would take a bus load together,
yeah.
a group of friends, and go to the races. Let's go back to the start and what we talked about here with the entry. Gauguin, the 1A, the One Pillar Mountain, and at one point you're going to see Javier Castellano look over at Joel Rosario and say, what are you doing here?
Yeah, look, it's the first time around in front of the grandstand. Castellano's on the lead. He knows his stablemate Pillar Mountain comes from well back. But to see his matching silks on his outside at about the 16th pole, first time they come around the track, he's like totally in shock.
He is
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
And here's the thing. The one is completely last, completely on the complete outside, making this rush. And I think that the rider just didn't want to stop him. Now watch Velasquez look at him like, whoa. And what ends up happening is he makes Gauguin basically quicken up big time.
He has to look twice. He's like, that's Pillar Mountain? Are you kidding me?
And it quickened up the pace. And listen, the race was over for the 1A and the 5 right there. And that's what the one ran giant to run second.
So let me ask you this. As we take a look here at Manny Franco, and I'm the captain now going into the winner's circle, it was common ownership, but it was different trainers. What's the conversation if you're Todd Pletcher with Joel Rosario after that?
After the race? I'm not sure what that conversation is, but I can assure you that Barry Irwin had a conversation with that rider.
Okay. I'm the captain now. 5-1 winner. There is Manny Franco. Barclay Tagg getting the job done here for Sure Thing Stables.
Yeah, congratulations. Just shows you pedigree's not everything. His son of Trapshot, who's a great sprinter, just got a go 1 mile and 3/8 out of a deputy minister mare, Klondike Hills. Sure Thing Stable. Fall along's getting better and better. $192 for that pick 3.
American Power favored, and then a couple of 5-1 shots. If you're alive in this Naira Bets late pick 5, it is shaping up to be very nice. 2 legs still left to go, including our feature race. And again, that's a nightcap you'll be able to see on the Naira Now app or at nairabets.com. But impressive performance here from I'm the Captain Now. Took him a little while to kind of get that first win under his belt. Didn't take him too long to return to the winner's circle. We're going to send it downstairs to Gabby Gaudet.
Well, Greg, standing by here with winning trainer Barclay Tagg. And Barclay, this horse, I'm the Captain Now, has had primarily all of his performances on a firm going today. Was that a concern given the conditions of the turf?
Well, naturally it was a concern, but you know, he's just a strange little horse. You never know what to expect, and he pulls it off. It took him 10 times to break his maiden, and then he's done this. You know, it's great.
You say he's a strange little horse, but Manny Franco was aboard him today, was aboard him last time out. Do you think that he just really suits him?
I think so, because he's the only jock that's been able to sneak him up without using him up and without getting him trapped or something, you know, and then he had all that run at the end there. So.
A beautiful ride, a beautiful performance.
Beautiful ride, it really was.
Well, looking up next, you obviously send out Realm in the feature race. This is a horse who's primarily raced at 1 turn. What are your thoughts on him going the 2 turns, 9 furlongs today?
I'm hoping it'll help him. I don't know. I mean, he's in deep there, but sometimes strange things happen. You know, he's doing well. I'm happy with the way he's healthy, he's sound, feeling good, eating well. So that's all you can do.
He looks like he has a nice little work coming into this race, too.
And he had a brilliant work coming into it. Yes, he did.
All right. Well, best of luck and congrats on this one.
Thank you.
All right. I'm the Captain Now getting the victory. He's the winner now, too.
Yeah, he's a multiple winner now for Barclay Tagg. And, of course, we're going to see Realm coming up. He'll be taking on this horse in our feature. That is Patch, the One-Eyed Wonder. He was 3rd in last year's Belmont Stakes. His 3rd start back of his 4-year-old campaign coming up next.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warfront. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 mile at Keeneland, then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. His runners include stakes winner Stardoza, along with a growing list of talented young runners. At public auction, his yearlings have sold up to $200,000. Data Link, standing at Claiborne Park.
Success starts at Saratoga. The Saratoga Selected Yearling Sale has established a reputation for high quality and high performance. Recent graduates include Grade 1 winners Avenge, Bolt d'Oro, and Moonshine Memories, and 2017 Breeders' Cup champions Battle of Midway, Stormy Liberal, and Rushing Full. The nation's #1 sale by percentage of Grade 1 winners, the Fasig-Tipton Saratoga Sale, August 6th and 7th.
We found Breeders' Cup champion Rushing Fall at Saratoga. Where will you be?
Back on Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and other regional networks across the country. This was from Saturday. Separation of Power, second start back of her 4-year-old campaign for Chad Brown, Klarovich Stables, Jose Ortiz, and she was powerful in the test.
Yeah, just the Grade 1 test we're looking at here. Mia Mischief ran the race of her lifetime, did everything she could to get to the wire first, including maybe a little bit of a body block against Separation of Power. Wasn't enough, and they're well clear of the rest of the field.
Andy, this was a dogfight to the wire. This was fun to watch.
Nah, this was just an excellent horse race between two excellent race horses. And Tom's right. I mean, Mia Mischief did everything but win this race. But Separation of Powers, and the pace was fair, but I think not as fast as some of us thought it would have been. And you make that wide move around the 3/8, 5/16 pole. It's not always easy to sustain it in the stretch. And Mia Mischief gave Separation of Powers all she wanted, but a nice win, and a nice win for the connections as well, Tom.
Now that indeed. There you see Seth Clareman bringing in Separation of Power. Grade 1 stakes winner, big future.
And she emerged with a chip from that Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies when she came back in the victory ride, her first start of her 4-year-old campaign. Had a very difficult trip, and this time got all she could handle from Mia Mischief, but able to put that one away and get the win. Of course, 2-year-olds, big part of what Saratoga is all about as well, and Mucho stepped up to the plate and showed he is going to be a force to be reckoned with and may have just become the hopeful favorite off this performance.
Well, everybody in this race was touted. The horse on the inside, to the horse on the outside, to everybody that was involved, except Mucho was touted to everybody at the windows. 12-1 in the morning line, 2-1, and wow, yesterday, Tom.
Yeah, this is his second start, and he made it a very, very good one. Son of Blaine, just coasting to the wire.
for Claiborne Farm. And Adele Dilschneider and Mucho showed. Yeah, he's going to be a horse whose name we're saying a lot more
Just
at
another
this
August
meet.
day at Saratoga.
How about that? You never know who you're looking at here.
That was a loaded group. I'm
breaking
telling
their
you,
maiden.
That was a loaded group.
And there's Walker Hancock of Claiborne Farm in the winner's circle, smiling ear to ear, and he should be. That looks like a real talented runner. Of course, our show brought to you in part each and every day by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We're going to take a break in the action. When we return, we're going to take a look back at the legendary Aladar and one of his finest moments. That's next.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe, running a 105 buyer and winning by open lengths. Mastery, new for 2018 at Claiborne Farm.
They come to the head of the stretch. J.O. Tobin on the outside, Buckaroo and Alidar stay. They come to the head of the stretch. J.O. Tobin on the outside, Buckaroo and Alidar stays on the rail and he gets through. It's Alidar along the inside who comes to the front. Alidar opening 3 in mid-stretch. Buckaroo, J.O. Tobin fading and True Statement beginning to gain. Through the stretch, Alidar draws clear by 7 lengths.
Well, Aladar will always be tied to Affirmed. Affirmed beat him in 7 of their 10 career meetings. But Aladar accomplished something Affirmed was never able to do. He actually beat older horses in that 1978 Whitney as a 3-year-old. He did it by 10 lengths in that race. And after he won that race, the rafters at this place were absolutely rocking, standing ovation from the entire crowd.
You know, I think everybody was ready to see Alydar break through. He'd been running against the firm, the 78 Triple Crown. It had everything. It had the elitist of Calumet Farm. It had the nouveau riche of Laz Barrera, and a young teenager riding a firm to Steve Coffin. It's what made me love racing. I will challenge that rivalry against any other rivalry in racing.
And a young teenager who grew up watching it in the stands that day, Andy Serling.
I can't agree more with Tom. I mean, I remember being here for that Whitney and watching it around the 8th bowl and seeing Alydar making that move up the rail. It was thrilling. I mean, I remember Affirmed and Alydar when they met in the Hopeful here, and Affirmed beat him, watching all those battles when Alydar sort of ambushed him in the Champagne. Tremendous battle through the Triple Crown races. But that Whitney, I'm going to tell you, Gabby, that Whitney performance by Alydar might have been one of the great performances I've ever seen.
Where were you when you watched it? Do you remember the crowd roaring?
Yeah, no, I was standing around the 8th bowl, sort of where we're now where the clubhouse starts.
On the apron.
And no, on the behind the seats.
Oh, right.
Watching it a little bit and watching him come through on the inside, and I was just a huge fan of both Affirmed and Alydar, and I think over time got to appreciate Alydar even more and more. He was an all-time great.
Absolutely.
Affirmed got the best of him on the racetrack, but went to the breeding shed. Alydar got the best of him there. So maybe there was a tiny bit of justice.
Let me give you one little more known fact. For all the people that think it's important to be on your right lead when you're finishing a race, Alydar never switched leads down the lane. Always finished on his left lead, and he could run.
Trainer John Veach said training Alydar was one of the great highlights of my life. Race named in his honor is our feature race. It is coming up next. We're 12 minutes to post. We're going to check in now with Maggie Wolfendale for a Paddock Report. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Bayern for $15,000.
Thanks, Greg. And this is an interesting field where we'll see two trainers, one of our top two trainers in the game, Todd Pletcher and Chad Brown, sending out a duo of horses. Now, actually, I'll check in with the longer priced, or actually, I take my words back. Now looking at the board, Kurlov, ace your 3-2 favorite. I guess there's a lot of weight on his shoulders, but I do like this horse. And he's one that came to America and made his first start on the main track, and I like that. He definitely looks like a dirt horse to me, and Chad Brown has said that he's been a little bit of a difficult kind of jigsaw puzzle to figure out what is actually best for him, and Chad usually very adept at finding out what his horses want to do, but it's taken him a little bit longer to figure out Kurlov, and this horse looks tremendous, and I'm still going to stand by what I thought about him when he first showed up here in this country, and that he's a dirt horse, and I want to give him another shot here. I love the way he's been training, too, as I've watched his workouts. And then there's a fan favorite, Patch. I'm glad to see Gabby Gaudette has a little bit of love for Patch as well, but I actually do think this horse has some talent. Obviously, he's kind of the niche horse with the one eye, and we love him for that. But he's really physically improved from 3 to 4, and that's always something I really like to see. He looks well conditioned here. He hasn't lost any of that muscle mass that he showed up having when he came back and won that allowance race first off the bench. So I know he's a bit of a sentimental horse, but Patch really looking the part here in the paddock, Andy.
Yeah, listen, Patch is a talented horse, and the truth is everybody in this race is pretty good. Now, Chad Brown's the 2, and I think, Gabby, I look at this race as a cat and mouse game. You've got Timeline, who's probably forwardly placed with outplay. Todd Pletcher on the inside, Chad Brown outside of him. And then you've got Kurlov, who's probably stalking 3rd or 4th in this race, depending on what Realm does. And then you have Patch making the final run. Timeline, you like him more than I do. He can obviously win. To me, I've just been disappointed with him. He's a bit of an underachiever.
I guess you could say that. My biggest concern with him is the 2 turns, because I do feel that he is a stronger horse going 1 turn, which he has been going in the last 4 starts of his career. The State Dinner, definitely his race that he comes out of was disappointing, but Sunny Ridge isn't a bad horse, and that was when Jason Service was winning everything.
Oh, Sunny Ridge is a very good horse, but I will say Timeline had the advantage of being on a rail that was strong. Now, Kurlov, I don't know. You know, Maggie made an interesting point saying he might be a better dirt horse. He's run well enough in the turf that it's hard to be sure that's the case, but there's nothing wrong with his dirt races, even if you don't necessarily agree with Maggie. And I'm not saying I don't.
I still think he's going to get the class test. The reason why you have to like this horse is because you know that is a more likely horse to get the distance. Going back to his last dirt race, the Queens County, there were 4 horses that hit the wire all at the same time, and I really didn't think it was that strong of a race.
Yeah, it was okay. How much are these horses really that much better than those horses is a question you have to ask yourself. Now, we're on a racetrack that may very much, and there's, of course, Chad Brown talking to Dave Grenning from the Daily Racing Forum. Dave Grenning, the hardest working man in horse racing, maybe the second hardest working guy right next to him. Patch, he's going to try to make that last move, and that's been working here, guys.
Well, we'll see if he can do that. Patch, of course, the outside horse in this 5-horse field for Todd Pletcher. Post-parade coming up. And John Velasquez, there you see him in those Rapoli silks, those royal blue and orange. For Todd Pletcher, he was sensational on this racetrack in the Curlin last summer.
He was. And listen, when you look at this field, like we're talking about the pace, and that's going to be very key in here. Who's going to show pace? And I tend to disagree with the people outside. I actually think Kurloff's going to lay farther back.
Post-parade coming up. We start off with Realm, 2014 Fasig-Tipton September sale graduate for Barclay Tagg, who we just saw win the last race.
Comes off a win last time out, but this is a tougher spot.
Outplay, the Curlin winner from right here at Saratoga last summer for Rapoli Stable and Todd Pletcher.
He's going to be part of the speed today, and he has a win over this track at this distance, but against inferior competition.
Timeline, he won the first 4 starts of his career. He's trained by Chad Brown. Javier Castellano rides.
Figures to be stalking outplay in this race. Can he put that rival away and then hold off the other closers?
Kurlov, he'll move back to the dirt, a Group 1 winner in Chile for Chad Brown with Irad Ortiz Jr.
Your 8-5 favorite. Distance doesn't look like it should be an issue, and we'll see if he can get it done going back to the dirt today.
And everybody's favorite one-eyed horse, Patch, the son of Union Rags for Todd Pletcher with Luis Saez and Calumet Farm.
Ran well when he won off the layoff 2 back, and that he was the lone closer to do any significant running over his head in the Stephen Foster. I think he's a big overlay right now at 9-2.
5-horse field. He worked hard to get that win off the bench as well in his 4-year-old debut, and they put him in very deep waters in that Stephen Foster.
I get it. I get it. Those were better horses, Pavel and Honorable Duty. But like what Andy's saying downstairs is 100% right. If there's ever a racetrack made for a horse today, it's Patch. He likes to close down the center of the racetrack. It doesn't matter what the pace is going to be. Faster, better for him, obviously. But with a close-knit field, you know, sometimes the horse with the best kick home wins these kind of races.
Yeah, you can talk about those horses, Stephen Foster, being better horses, but he's 7th beaten 18 lengths. It was too bad to believe. And I'll look at a form and look at races and say, hey, you know what? That's too bad to believe. I don't know what the excuse was, the reason was, but I put a line through it. I like Patch. I think Patch has got a big opportunity here.
4-1 on the board on Patch right now. His 3rd start of his 4-year-old season for Todd Pletcher, the 6th running of the Aladar. Coming up, our feature race here on this Sunday afternoon from Saratoga is next.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. Now his flashy first crop yearlings are turning heads with a striking resemblance to their internationally successful sire. The sky's the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Well, Saturday was a lot of fun here. Even when the rains came pouring down, fans still managed to have a good time during that 41-minute rain delay. And Sunday, more of the same. Just a great time here at the premier racetrack in the entire country. And our feature race here on this Sunday afternoon, coming up right now in the 6th running of the Aladars. We take a look at the one-eyed wonder there, Patch. You guys talked about it before we went to break, the way this racetrack is playing. It could just suit up perfectly for this horse today.
Yeah, it could. He's going to need some pace in front of him. We know that. We understand that. But when you have a shorter field and they're bunched up, 2 and 3 are good quality horses that he's going to have to pass. But I think they'll hook up enough. Well, he's going to get his chance.
You know, we talked about money, smart money, money early. This 4-horse, Krylov, is scaring me to death. He's getting money since the betting opened in this race, and he's now a co-favorite.
9 to 5. I mean, that is significant play here, certainly in a horse who has been on the turf the last 4 starts. But again, we mentioned a Group 1 winner in Chile. When he came to the U.S. for Chad Brown, he actually, his first 2 starts, they were on the dirt, and he ran 3rd, just beating a neck in a stakes race, although it was a sloppy track at Aqueduct.
Well, listen, when he first came here, he showed a ton of speed in a paceless race. This horse needs a target, the 4. And I think maybe on the dirt, if you watch his turf races, he's a grinder. He doesn't really have a great turn of foot, which could translate to being a better turn of foot on dirt. We'll see.
This horse has shown a good early turn of foot. The mile and the 8th, maybe the question for Timeline. With more, let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Thank you, Greg. And Timeline, a horse who was on the front end kind of uncharacteristically last time. It obviously did not work out well. And today in the warm-ups, he's been kept very, very quiet. You know, usually we see these horses for trainer Chad Brown. They are warmed up away from the pony, and Timeline is stuck with the pony, and things have just been kept quiet with this boy. So going back to kind of original tactics for him to lay off the pace a little bit here overall. Now, as far as horses being up on it, well, number 1, Realm, he did get a warm-up by himself beneath Junior Alvarado. So he has the inside post. He's had speed in the past, and some of his better races are when he's sitting closely. Also, Patch, I just thought it was interesting with Patch. You know, he does have the one eye, so, you know, his other senses have to take over a little bit more. And he's always a horse whose ears are going back and forth, because he probably listens / hears more than what he actually sees. So it's just funny to watch him warm up and how his ears are going back and forth like little radars here, Greg.
He was so popular when the story came out about him having just one eye in the Kentucky Derby, and really he wound up taking a lot of money in that race simply probably because of that story.
No doubt. I think he was like 14 or 15 to 1, which was a real head scratcher for handicappers. But he's legit, and they mentioned that they think he's better this year. I tend to agree with that statement from downstairs. Legit shot here.
Listen, I get it. Taproot and Irish Warcry haven't turned out to what they want, but he still did run 3rd in the Belmont. So let's give him a little bit of credit. Yeah, he's turned into a nice little horse. You see the pick bar. We're not giving you anything special. We think one of the favorites are going to win this race.
So about to load up all the money on Krylov, the other Chad Brown runner. As they move in line, there is Realm, Outplay. Ran huge in the Curlin here last summer, and there is Timeline. Let's send it upstairs for the call of the Aladar, our feature race. Here's the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
Just a couple left to load here as Krylov and Iran Ortiz Jr. are taking their spot in stall 4. And the popular one, Patch, coming up to the outside stall under Luis Saez to complete this field of 5 that are all in line and ready for the start. They're off in the Aladar. Realm had the best beginning. Outplay is sent up on the outside to grab the lead. Timeline, Krylov, and Patch behind them as they make their way into that first turn. And it's going to be Outplay and John Velasquez to lead the way early on, in front by 3/4 of a length to Realm, who's on the rail. Timeline and Krylov are side by side, racing 3rd and 4th, a length and 3/4 off the lead, and Patch kept outside by Luis Saez to trail this quintet to the backstretch, 24.32. A sensible opening fraction for Outplay, who heads on to the backstretch in front. Krylov is 3 deep outside of Timeline and Realm, and Patch is last. Up the backstretch, less than 6 furlongs to go here. Outplay the leader. with a bit of daylight, opening up by almost 2 lengths now over Kurlov and his stablemate Timeline, who continued to track second and third. Then Realm on the inside of the trailer Patch. Up the backstretch, Outplay has run a 47.96 half mile and heads for the far turn with a 2-length lead on Kurlov. Timeline is down on the inside, running in third. And then it's Realm and Patch who continue to race together. 5 lengths off of front-running Outplay, who's been there all the way. Kurlov and Ortiz Jr. now beginning to move up alongside. The two of them are now head-and-head on the turn. Timeline has come under pressure in third as Kurlov goes strongly outside of Outplay to grab the lead. At the top of the stretch, it is Kurlov in front. Outplay on the inside second, Timeline is third, and then Realm and Patch on the far outside. Kurlov to catch and a furlong to do it. A 2-length lead, Timeline, Realm, Patch on the outside. Outplay back to last. It is Kurlov desperately holding on to this lead. Realm's going to make a race of it. Kurlov, here comes Realm. Here comes the wire. Very close. Heads were up and down, Realm and Kurlov. And then it was Patch and Timeline in 150.02.
Dead tight finish at the wire, and it looks like it might have been Realm here. Barkley tag back-to-back, Junior Alvarado aboard.
Extremely tight finish. Kurlov came into the stretch looking like he was going to win this race by open lengths, but he got leg weary, and the longest shot on the board, Realm, came along at 12-1 for Barkley Tag to win back-to-back races on our show.
How lucky are we to get to witness some of these performances and finishes today? This was an incredible race here as we see Realm. Looks like he did get the head bob, but to be fair, Kurlov did have to make a pretty premature move, and they were going fast in front of him.
Yeah, this has been unbelievable. The last move has won each time. It's almost been like there's been a wall with like 80 yards left, whoever has the lead, Tom, and the last horse to make the last move has won every race.
Yeah, I think this track has quickened a great deal since the beginning of the day because this group was very tightly bunched. I get it. The fractions were indeed fast, but this group was not far apart all the way from Patch up to our pace setter. Timeline, I'm not sure exactly what the strategy was there, but hey, big race from Realm coming off the pace.
Realm, it is posted unofficially, gets the job done. Dead tight, had plenty in the tank to just get past the wire. Ran out of gas, so trying to catch up to Maggie Wolfendale, it looked like just a moment ago. Maggie, standing by with Junior Alvarado.
Yeah, Junior, you fit this horse pretty darn nicely, I'd say. He's actually improved and taken a huge step forward here today, Junior, in the Alidar.
Yeah, you know, like I've been riding the last few times, and actually, you know, last time I worked him, I told Barkley, man, I never rode him before when he was 3, but like to me, you know, he felt he's like in the top of his game right now. You know, I've been working it, and I can tell that he's very happy, he's very strong. He's giving you what he got at this time. So, you know, he asked me and said, like, you know, if it's the time to take a shot in a stake race, that would be this time because he's on top of the game. And I mean, I'm glad it worked out.
Junior, how much confidence does that give you when a trainer listens and responds to you being on top of the horse as you are in the mornings?
You know, it's been great because, you know, he's been letting me work him, you know, and all that. You know, he always was pretty high on him. And, you know, when I started riding him, you know, he wasn't running his best races. So, you know, we start kind of working on it. And like I said, it's been working out.
It really has. Job well done by you. A patient ride as well. Talk a little bit about your trip down on the rail. You just kind of secured that mid-pack status and then came with that late run.
Yeah, you know, like I wanted to try to go even to the lead. And if you know, try to stay second and, you know, tipped outside because he doesn't really want it to be in the inside. He's a horse, he hates it to be inside. But, you know, like by the fire pole, I'm still inside. And I'm still like, well, you know what, I just want to try to save ground, at least until the 3 pole. And, you know, when I ask him, you know, if I got horse, I'm going to start moving out. And, you know, that's what I did. You know, by the 3 pole, when I asked him, you know, I knew I still have some horse there. And, you know, I started working my way out. And like I said, at the end, you know, he kept grinding it out. And, you know, he got there on time.
Junior, job well done by you. And it really shows in your confidence and capability on Realm here today. Congrats.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right. These two, quite a pair down here in the Alidar, Greg.
Yes, they were perfectly timed. Sure, Junior knew it all along. Realm, Barkley Tag, Junior Alvarado, your winners of the Alidar. We'll be right back after this.
stretches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. He has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live, is Realm gonna get there? Yes, indeed. Under Junior Alvarado, just in time over Kirilov.
Yeah, congratulations to the son of Haynesfield. That's some of his better races here in New York. I have a Chiefs Crown mare, Shawnee County of Virginia bred here.
There's where the distance comes from.
Right?
Yeah.
Now 2 for 4 at Saratoga, and Barkley tagged with 2 wins on the day.
Have 2 wins on the day, and with a horse he actually supplemented to the stake. Wasn't originally nominated, so a last-minute decision with a horse that looks like he's more middle distance. Great tactics today to win going around.
Naira Betts, late pick 5, follow along. You saw it right there. If you're alive in this sequence, you're alive to some massive numbers. You got to get involved. The only way to play it, if you're not in the state of New York, is getting down with Naira Betts. That nightcap coming up. You can watch it on Naira Betts by checking out that video right there or on the Naira Now app. Earlier today, some of the best riders in the history of our sport being honored on Jockey Legends Day. And in our feature race, we had a thriller photo finish down to the wire. Group 1 winner in Chile, Kirilov, getting passed right at the wire by Realm on Fox Sports 2. We will see you on Wednesday. Everybody else, we were back on Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.